On the first day I turned into a black dragon, I wanted to eat my two unhatched sisters. Even Dragon Mother made my mouth water, simply because I awakened a golden skill called Feast. It can grow stronger by continuously devouring, so the scent wafting from Dragon Mother was irresistible, yet seeing her massive body and sharp claws calmed me down. The next day, my two dragon sisters were about to hatch. The newborns smelled incredibly delicious, like pets I wanted to bite into. After Dragon Mother left, I swaggered over to my sisters, rudely grabbed some eggshell fragments preparing for the feast. Emily tried to resist, so I pinned her to the ground and picked up the largest piece. Hannah, watching, hurriedly gathered her shell pieces and began devouring them crazily. Seeing this, I grabbed Hannah by the neck and shoved her aside, then took the biggest shell piece for myself. Having already gained one layer of feast from eating my own shell, I needed to store food while it cooled, so I put the stolen shell pieces, the other half shell, and a beast carcass together to wait for the next feast. The two sisters quickly finished their shell scraps, then stared hungrily at the distant monster carcass. Emily couldn't resist and crept toward it, while Hannah watched. As Emily lunged, I picked her up by the neck and threw her aside. "This was prepared by Mother for us, you can't hog it." Emily glared at me, thinking Mother would care about such things. I paid no heed to her threat. Emily fell silent. Between 5 colored dragons, Mother was indifferent to such matters, and I felt I might have gone too far. I then tore off 2 chunks of meat. This should be enough. If not, go eat dirt. The 2 little sisters were still upset but had to accept it. Emily ate the meat viciously, while Hannah ate and kept watching her big brother. I pondered, the feast talent seemed it could eat more than meat. Having seen Dragon Mother's treasures earlier, desire filled me. That desire wasn't dragon possessiveness, but true appetite. The scent from the treasures proved it. A day later, the feast began, and the familiar hunger spread through me. I lunged at the monster carcass and began gobbling, and the feast progress started to climb. After I finished all the monster meat, the feast progress was still stuck at 90%, which made me feel worse. I turned to my 2 little sisters, hunger scanning them. Emily and Hannah instinctively recoiled, thinking Big Brother terrifying. I forced myself to ignore the scent coming from them. I focused on the monster's bones, picked up the brittle bones and ribs and began swallowing. With my frantic gnawing, the feast progress finally reached completion. I found a spot in the cave away from Dragon Mother and the 2 sisters, watched my body grow, scales hardening, claws and teeth sharpening, limbs thickening. The short transformation ended. I could feel big increases in bone and muscle density. I guess my weight now exceeded that of the 2 sisters combined. On the 3rd day, the cave's food ran low and Dragon Mother wouldn't hunt, so to prepare for the next feast, I had to go hunt myself. I left the cave. Nearby beasts were bloated and avoided, so I had to go farther from the nest to hunt. I slowly headed into the deep woods. In a dense forest, 5 dire wolves were feeding on a large stag carcass. I hid in the bushes watching. Dire wolves are fierce but not monsters. These ones were still dangerous. I weighed our strengths and felt I could handle them. I began to approach the dire wolves slowly, then bit the throat of the nearest wolf in one bite. The dire wolf gave a single pitiful cry and collapsed. The other 4, including the leader, froze at my ambush. The dire wolf leader didn't attack at once. He bared his teeth and snarled, weighing the fight. Seeing my jet black scales and wings, he recognized me as a black dragon, though only a young one. Once he gauged the gap, the leader let out a roar and the other 3 wolves circled to surround me. I still had the dead wolf in my jaws. Its warm blood flowed into my belly, and a surge of excitement hit me as something within me awakened. I looked at the 4 wolves, released the carcass, planted my 4 claws on it, spread my wings and let out a dragon's roar. Under the leader's command, 3 wolves charged. I met them head-on. I slammed into one wolf and sent it flying. I vaguely heard the crack of bones breaking on its body. The other 2 took the chance to bite at my neck and one wing. I pinned the one at my throat and my sharp claws sank into its body. My bite caught its spine with a snap, the wolf's backbone broke. Meanwhile, the other wolf had bitten through my wing. The scales weren't enough to stop its teeth and were pierced. At that moment, the leader lunged, his powerful jaws aimed at my throat. I lifted my head coldly. "I've been waiting for you," and a cone of acidic fluid sprayed from my mouth, covering the leader's entire face. He was blinded and writhed in agony. After spitting the acid, I quickly pinned the wolf that had bitten my wing and snapped its neck. A cool sensation spread through me as the pierced wing slowly healed. I knew the carnivore talent was at work. I looked at my spoils with excitement. Though these were lower-level predators, as a dragon I could dispatch them almost unharmed, which felt impressive. I began devouring the dire wolves' carcasses. Non-monster meat was still inferior, and sadly, my feast hadn't finished cooling. But I estimated these 5 wolves plus that stag still wouldn't complete my 3rd feast. A boar over 3 meters long stepped from the shadows, lowing at me and eyeing the corpses hungrily. I glanced up at it and kept eating the wolf carcasses. I hadn't taken the aggressive boar seriously. Seeing no reaction from me, it grew bolder. It crouched and moved toward a wolf carcass to snatch it. I stopped eating and walked toward the boar. The boar dropped the carcass and fled clever. After confirming I wasn't injured, it wisely chose to abandon it to save itself. I didn't eat all the wolves. I consumed 2 and hid the rest in the swamp. After roaming a while and getting familiar with the area, I returned to the lair. Hannah and Emily looked listless. They kept glancing into the depths of the cave. It seemed Dragon Mother still hadn't gone hunting. I had hoped to snack on some higher-level monster meat. As I passed Hannah, he sniffed there was a bloody smell and he figured I must have hunted. At that thought, his energy returned. Big brother, did you go hunting? So what if I did, I replied, lazily glancing at him. Even when you snuck out yesterday, I slipped out too and chased you off? I was surprised that Hannah, such a runt, chased you off. A few wolves could have killed him. I found a good spot with lots of prey. I want to open a temporary den there with you. He knew staying here held no future. True dragons can live on Earth if needed, but who would when there's meat to eat? I'm not interested in chores. I gave Hannah a bored look. Don't you want monster meat? Hannah was a bit startled at the word monster. What monster? I suddenly perked up with interest. After all, Dragon Mother has lived here a long time, so there are hardly any monsters nearby. I originally planned to follow you, but I lost you later, and eventually found a hunting bear monster. Good grief, you actually dared to follow me. Seeing my fierce look, Hannah hurriedly added, actually, after you left the lair I lost your trail. A hunting bear reaches adulthood at about level 5, right? Only a young dragon could hunt one head-on. How could we Drake Slayers handle it? That bear looked wounded, there was a lot of blood on him, and he probably isn't level 5 yet. I thought for a moment. The feast was about to finish cooling, meaning I had to prepare. We could check that hunting bear. Let's go. Hannah followed happily. In a forest on the outskirts of the Shigu swamp, Hannah and I moved silently. Are you sure the hunting bear was here? We've been walking and it's just trees. Hannah grew anxious. I pondered for a moment. Then I fixed my gaze on a distant stag. With my sudden strike it didn't react and its neck was snapped. Hannah watched my clean, efficient move and swallowed. Is that for us to eat? Dream on, that's for the hunting bear. I expertly eviscerated the stag and the blood scent spread through the area. The hunting bear's sense of smell is keen. As long as it's in the area he will come. All right, you can eat now. Seeing Hannah's longing, I said it. Hannah quickly understood. You want me to act as bait. Or else I'll be bait and you ambush it, kill the hunting brother. Or you do it. Hannah began eating the stag, watching the surroundings warily as he ate. After a while, a huge dark shape approached. I clearly saw a brown, giant bear, but it looked unwell. The neck had a half-black arrow lodged in it. It seemed the hunting bear was indeed injured, likely by some mercenary group. The bear's pupils were fixed, staring intently at Hannah in the distance. The instinct of a large predator told him eating that little dragon would bring great benefit. Finally, he couldn't resist. He crouched and then charged like a tank. Hannah had only taken a few bites before the sudden commotion startled him. Seeing the charging, hunting bear, Hannah couldn't even swallow the meat in his mouth and bolted away instantly. The hunting bear was injured and somewhat hindered, but he still resolutely charged at Hannah. Hannah then realized he was being driven toward a rock face. The hunting bear reared up on his hind legs, his massive frame standing over 5 meters tall, radiating pressure. Big brother, save me. Hannah felt small and helpless. The bear was excited, having been chased. He was filled with pent-up rage and ready to vent. At that moment, I struck silently. I leapt onto the bear's back and bit out one of his eyes. The intense pain made the bear howl. His huge paws grabbed my body to throw me off, but my sharp claws dug in and he couldn't shake me free. Hannah hurriedly retreated from the battlefield. His little body couldn't take the strain. The bear, unable to throw me off, charged headlong at the rock wall. I saw his intent and jumped off as he slammed into the wall. The hunting bear was in terrible pain. With a roar, magical energy appeared around him. Monsters surpass savage beasts because they can sense magical elements and cast magic. With a rumble, 7 or 8 earth spikes shot up from beneath me. The instant I saw the bear unleash earth element energy, I reacted. But one of the spikes still pierced my body, and a halo over the bear's hide flickered. Bursting out of the danger zone, I felt my body suddenly grow heavy and my movements slow, an earth-type restraining spell. I hadn't expected the bear's aptitude to be so high that it could cast such magic. Seeing me restrained, the hunting bear cast a stone veil on himself and charged wildly. I used the first honor magic I had learned since arriving in this world, Radiant Race, and poured almost all my mana into it, making it flash like a blinding grenade. The sudden flash of light tormented the hunting bear, which had only one eye left, briefly blinding it. My long-accumulated venom, like a blade, shot straight into the bear's mouth. Its massive body lost weight and collapsed. Monster life is tenacious. The hunting bear still had a breath left. I stepped closer and ended the bear's suffering. When it died, the flesh-bearer skill activated and the wounds on me began to heal at a visibly rapid pace. Hannah came running over from who knows where, all excited. Big brother, you're amazing, you killed the hunting bear. I didn't reply. Instead, I plunged my forepaw into the bear's forehead, searching. A faceted crystal appeared in my hand. Of course, a beast this powerful would hold a magic crystal. Hannah wagged his tail slowly. I glanced at him and said, when I'm done eating, the rest will be yours. Hannah's heart leapt at the sight of the enormous bear, so big that even if Big Brother ate his fill he probably wouldn't finish half, so the leftovers would all be his. I looked at the status panel. The feast had finally finished cooling. I activated it. The familiar hunger swept through me. I began consuming the bear's corpse, starting with the 4 paws. Even raw, the monster meat's mana-filled richness made me feel pleasantly satiated. Its texture was springy. The feast's tier percentage started to change, and only after eating half did the 3rd tier reach 50%. I then devoured the bear's entrails, the gallbladder, followed by some bones. After eating half the bones, I turned my gaze to the magic crystal in my hand. It smelled even richer, and without hesitation I swallowed it. The third tier of the feast finally hit 100%. The rest is yours, but you'd better be quick, other predators might be nearby. I quickly flew toward the Shigu swamp. Hana pounced on the remains and began gobbling them down. Seeing you earlier, big brother, I thought you'd eaten the whole bear. Luckily there was some left, though not much. It was enough for me. I didn't return to the lair. I dug a small cave in the Shigu swamp. Lying down, I watched my body grow stronger step by step, constantly maturing. While I underwent the third tier feast metamorphosis, 2 mercenaries quietly arrived at the bone swamp in a forest on the outskirts. Dilia, are you sure that hunting bear came here? Asked a burly blonde man. Sodos, I'm certain the bear carried my magic sword relic. Its tracker pointed here. Didn't expect it to run this far, replied Dilia, while another young man yawned. What if it doesn't have a magic crystal? Asked a man who looked almost identical to the first young man. This hunting bear must have a magic relic. The earth-rooting skill is a prerequisite for gravity control magic, and it used that skill so easily, which shows the bear's talent is quite good. Second, don't worry, we'll get the relic and help you advance to level 5 mage. Plus, the materials from that bear will make us a tidy sum, the Captain Soto said with a laugh. They were hunting the bear, mainly because Bill, their earth mage, was about to rank up and needed an earth magic crystal. According to intel, there might be adult black dragons in the Shigu swamp, Dilia suddenly said. Adult black dragons? We're not here to slay dragons, we won't go deep into the swamp. Staying on the outskirts should be fine, right? Boss, I feel that once we grow stronger we can slay dragons and enjoy the glory of dragon slayers. Haha, Lori, don't underestimate any worm giant dragons aren't for us to handle, only legendary mercenary companies can take them down. Relax, boss, I was only joking. The group then headed into the forest. Meanwhile, I finished my metamorphosis, gaining an earth magic element. Qinghei's aptitude was decent, I just didn't know how strong this earth element would be. Sotos and his group hid in the dark grass, watching everything. Their faces showed a mix of shock, awe, fear, and mostly excitement. They hadn't expected that while tracking the hunting bear, they'd find something this big. Because they had discovered a black dragon hatchling. Seeing the heedless little dragon outside, the twin brothers' eyes shone with greed. Captain, we must stay calm. A hunting bear isn't something that hatchling can kill, so there must be an adult black dragon nearby. We should leave quickly. Captain, this is a rare chance. The value of a black dragon hatchling is obvious. This could be our one shot to change our fate. If we miss it, it's gone forever. Lori stared at the little black dragon with shining eyes. This hatchling is like food handed to us. If we capture it, Lori could become a dragon rider. I've heard some dragon riders have dragons cast life symbiosis magic, sharing half the dragon's life and living hundreds or thousands of years. That's seed capital for a powerful family. Sotos' face showed hesitation. He looked at the others. Lori and his brother wore excited expressions, while Dilia looked resistant. Bill bowed his head silently. Let's vote. It's fairer that way. Who's in favor of taking action? The Lori brothers immediately raised their hands. Dilia remained silent. I'm not in favor either. The risk is too great. Just as Sotos breathed easier, Bill, who had kept his head down, suddenly raised his hand. Dilia looked at Bill in disbelief. In his impression, Bill wasn't so reckless. Lilia and Boss, I know the value of a dragon slayer more than any of you. Lori is right, we may never see this chance again. Capture the hatchling and leave immediately. No one can stop us. Sotos hesitated a moment, then said firmly, let's do it. Meanwhile, Hana was still happily chewing on the hunting bear's flesh, thinking it was too much to finish and whether to save some for Emily, when suddenly an arrow shot from the grass. A howl of anguish cut out. He didn't look toward the attack but instead fled rapidly in the direction I had left earlier. The ground suddenly trembled and 4 or 5 earth spikes burst up, and a precise arrow from Dilia pierced Hana's hind leg. Quick, quick! Sotos and the others rushed out. The Lori brothers threw a huge net over Hana. He thrashed, which only tightened the net. Hana was utterly desperate. Big brother, help me! Hana knew his situation and urgently roared for them to hurry. Sotos and Lori lifted him and fled to one side with Bill and Dilia covering their retreat. I had already returned to the hunting bear's corpse. Hana had eaten well. My nose twitched. Something was off. Besides Hana and the bear, there were many other strong scents, and human footprints on the ground. Hana had hatched. A dangerous gleam flashed in my eyes. Though a bit foolish, Hana is a true dragon. Once grown, he'll be formidable. I intend to make him part of my team. We were still several kilometers from Dragon Mother's cave. Coming and going, Hana wouldn't know where to go. I warily watched a nearby spot. Big brother, it's me, Emily. A tiny figure crawled out from the grass, surprised to see how fast I'd grown compared to her 3 or 4 of me in size. We were all hatchlings. Why had I grown so quickly? Emily, Hana has been captured by humans. Go tell Dragon Mother quickly. I'll go find Hana. What? Hana was captured by humans, Emily cried. Hurry. Hana may never come back. I glanced at her coldly, beat my wings, and followed the scent trail. Though I couldn't truly fly yet, my wings allowed me to glide and move faster. Emily watched me go, looked at the monster meat on the ground, clenched her teeth, and ran toward Dragon Mother's cave. They fled in a panic. Sotos felt this was the craziest thing he'd ever done, stealing a hatchling from the territory of an adult black dragon. After pursuing for a while with powerful speed, I finally spotted them about 500 meters away. The group consisted of a level 4 Earth Mage, a level 5 warrior, 2 level, 4 warriors, and an elven archer. For their level to come to an adult dragon's lair and dare steal a hatchling, that should be doable. Though for safety, it would be better to wait for Dragon Mother. But if Dragon Mother intervenes, the spoils on them won't be mine. Thinking this, I prepared to strike. Coincidentally, they had stopped. Boss, let's rest a bit, we're almost out of the Shigu forest. This long raid is wearing us out. No, we must hurry to Kaleni City. I'm exhausted. This hatchling is heavy. Unconsciously they paused. Bill stepped forward to try to reason, and a light flashed in my eyes, an opportunity. In a team fight, you cut the caster first. I moved like a reaper. I suddenly grabbed the huge dragon head and bit directly into Bill's shoulder. By the time Sotos and the others reacted, it was too late. Blood sprayed over their faces. They hadn't expected Bill to be killed by a suddenly appearing lure dragon. Even his defensive membrane did nothing. Sotos was first to lift the giant shield on his back and slam it toward me. Delia drew his bow, and green arcane arrows kept streaking at me. The Lori brothers flanked me from left and right. I hoisted Bill's corpse and hurled it at Delia, trying to bypass the other 3 to strike Delia. No more caster. Next is the ADC, but Sotos gave me no chance. In a rage, he erupted with silver-white fighting chi, accelerated, and braced his shield against my charge. Boom, my body slammed into that massive shield. Sotos was knocked back, while I remained unmoved, though the impact halted my momentum. Only now did Sotos realize that this creature, which looked like a lure dragon, was absolutely beyond what they could handle. You guys go, I'll cover the rear. As Sotos glanced aside, he noticed the Lori brothers had already fled with the hatchling. Only Delia still stood resolutely behind him. Lori, Kent, how could you do this? He hadn't expected the Lori brothers to abandon their teammates in the direst moment. Delia, run, go now. Sotos charged straight at me. None of you will leave. I unleashed my full power. Tears welled in Delia's eyes as she reluctantly leapt onto a branch and fled. I clamped my feet onto Sotos' shield, gripped hard, and flew out. Sotos drew a long sword from his back and swung at me. I spat a jet of acid, but Sotos' surface fighting chi blocked it. I then headbutted and sent Sotos flying. Sotos quickly righted himself and advanced, then looked down at his chest. A black dragon claw had pierced him. Blood poured from Sotos' mouth. A chuckling voice said, "We shouldn't be greedy. You're a true warrior, but our stances differ." I moved to Bill's corpse and rifled through him, finding only a broken jade pendant. I took the ring from Bill's finger, probed it with my spirit force, and discovered a few square meters of stored space. Inside were various armor ores, some gold and silver coins, and several magic scrolls. This was a magic storage device, an item forged by spatial mages for storage. This Bill fellow wasn't ordinary. The contents were substantial, but now wasn't the time to sort loot. An angry dragon roar rolled across the Shigu swamp. Some animals were even scared to death by the dragon's might. I knew Dragon Mother was enraged. I quickly hid the magi storage device in my mouth and waited silently. A huge black silhouette descended from the sky. Dragon Mother appeared before me, radiating overwhelming pressure. Hannah was taken by mercenaries, I gasped. I killed 2 with all my strength but couldn't stop them. Dragon Mother, furious, lashed her tail and sent me flying. She didn't even notice how I had slain a level 5 warrior and a level 4 mage. After emitting a draconic magic tracking cry, she flew off in a direction. After Dragon Mother left, I stood up. She had only vented her anger and not dealt a killing blow. The Lori brothers were frantically fleeing with Hannah. "Lori, is it right for us to abandon the boss like this? They're clearly outmatched. They can buy us time to escape. We'll be grateful to them forever," Lori said coldly. "No, Butts, didn't the boss say we're brothers? If they can die for our future, then let them die. Ahead is Kaleni City. Once inside, not even an adult black dragon can touch us," Lori said, staring at the distant walls. The 2 dashed out of the forest toward the nearby city walls. They saw many mercenaries entering the city and breathed a sigh of relief. But with the dragon's roar, their minds went blank. The boundless draconic might utterly cowed them. By the time they recovered, it was too late. The huge wings seemed to blot out the sky. Kent stared dumbfounded at the adult black dragon in the sky, but Lori's reaction was quick. He pulled Hannah out of the net. He then knelt, trembling with fear, and said, "Honored mother of black dragons, we did not mean offense. Please, calm your wrath." Dragon Mother did not take Hannah. Instead, she swallowed Lori whole. Kent tried to grab Hannah and use him to threaten Dragon Mother. But Dragon Mother was so fast that Kent didn't even let out a scream before he too was swallowed. She paid no heed to Hannah, still staggering below, and instead, fixed her gaze on the distant city walls. On Kaleni's walls, the soldiers had already descended into chaos from fright. "Quick, prepare the mana cannons. Archers, ready. Giant crab servitors, fire. Where are the mages?" Dragon Mother looked at it all with mockery. How could these foolish, fragile humans understand true draconic power? She rose like a sovereign, surveying her domain and the city below. "Fire!" The commander on the wall barked. Countless swordsmen, mixed with a few enchanted giant crab servitors, surged up at the dragon in the sky. With a powerful twin-wing beat, Dragon Mother whipped up a storm. All the swordsmen except a few crab servitors were toppled, and she casually snapped several servitor swords. Dragon Mother then flew above the city, a cruel smile on her face. Cone-shaped acidic spines sprayed from her maw and spread fast. Half the district was rained on by acid. Whales rose everywhere. A flash of white light cut through, and a middle-aged man in a white mage's robe, staff in hand, flew up near the dragon. He was Baji, Lord of Kaleni, Leo the Light Mage. His face was very grim. Wasn't there a truce? Why was this black dragon going berserk? Great Black Dragon Queen, have you forgotten our agreement? Ah, humans. Always one thing before faces and another behind backs. The Del Kingdom dared to send people to steal my child, Dragon Mother thundered. Great Black Dragon Queen, what is this about? Leo asked in confusion. Then what is this? Dragon Mother pointed at the dazed Hannah on the ground and demanded, looking at the obvious handiwork of a professional mercenary band on him. Leo's face darkened. Which fools, if you're going to steal, at least don't get caught. Black Dragon Queen, this must be a misunderstanding. Leo quickly recovered his composure. Human, are you insulting a great true dragon? Black Dragon Queen, what price must we pay to make this right? Foolish humans, who do you think I am? Dragon Mother said coldly. Leo's head ached. This would cost dearly. Hiding at a distance, I realized Dragon Mother seemed to be using this as an excuse to vent. I silently slipped back. The rest of this had nothing to do with me. I didn't return to the den but instead walked to a spot not far from it. The valley was the place Hannah had mentioned wanting to nest with me. I didn't know how many magical beasts lurked nearby, but I liked it. Water, trees, the smell of earth, and strong traces of bone element. I opened the magic storage device from that earth mage and carefully inspected its contents. Roughly counted, there were about 300 gold coins, dozens of silver coins and some gems, and most importantly several magic scrolls and earth element spells. The book's text was written in the continent's common tongue. No challenge for a black dragon. Earth novice spell, shield defense, X5, earth ultimate spell, earth spirit tree axe, swamp tree, earth tremor detection, earth advanced spell, earthquake tree, mother of the earth, restoration slow effect, reduces enemy movement speed. Goodness, these spells are truly abundant. I feel like I could become an earth element worm having earth affinity. Learning should not be too hard. I started with the earth novice spells. Following the instructions, I began constructing my spell model. As I adjusted my mind, the model formed quickly. 30-some, massive conical earth spikes burst up from the ground with a thunderous crack, overwhelming in shock. But I felt the spell was nothing special. Its casting speed was too slow, so against faster reacting creatures it posed no real threat. To avoid casualties, Kaleni's lord had to accede to Dragon Mother's unreasonable demands and give her nearly all the treasury's valuables. This can't continue. The black dragon's appetite only grows. We must eliminate her. Determination showed in Leo's eyes as he quickly wrote a letter and sealed it in a golden envelope. Someone, what orders, my lord? A guard entered to carry the letter to Del's capital and deliver it to the king in person. As you command, Leo replied. Dragon Mother watched the growing pile of treasure with delight. In truth, the black dragon Lissa had only just come of age. She was only 101 years old. By human years, that's like a 17 or 18-year-old girl. At that age, which chromatic dragon has so much wealth? Thinking this, Dragon Mother contentedly sprawled on the hoard and began to roll around. Outside the cave, Hannah trembled with Emily. This was a huge shock for her. She had nearly been captured by humans. Hannah, you were careless. If I hadn't risked my life to wake our sleeping mother, you'd have been taken and flayed by humans. Emily, thank you. The outside world is terrifying. I want to stay here until I'm grown. Hannah looked shaken. So you better stop going out with Big Brother so much, Emily said, rolling her eyes. Big Brother's actually been good to me. He even fed me lots of hunted grizzly meat. Beast meat is so tasty, Hannah licked her lips. What Big Brother specially hunted beast meat for you? Emily was stunned. Among chromatic dragons, there's no sibling affection. If he doesn't bully you, that's lucky. Why would Big Brother favor Hannah? Does he want to mate with her? Emily glared at the silly Hannah, indignant inside. I'm starving. I want to find Big Brother. Suddenly, Hannah snapped, you idiot. You just said you'd never go out again, but if we don't go out, what will we eat? Hannah asked Emily curiously. All you ever think about is food. Go eat dirt, Emily retorted. Are you always eating dirt? Hannah noticed a patch in the cave where soil seemed missing. Mind your own business, future greatest black dragon. Queen doesn't eat dirt, Emily scoffed. I'll go find Big Brother myself. Hannah shook her head and trotted off. Emily watched Hannah's retreating figure. A bit frantic, she couldn't even find a companion to eat dirt with. I stood in a clearing with my eyes closed, sensing things. At one moment, a small mound appeared behind me. Found you, I said, whipping my tail hard. A creature over 3 meters long was sent flying. I turned and saw the collapsed beast was a subterranean orb, a Category 7 monster. Its fur was entirely toxic and it had little meat. I didn't want to eat it, but I had to deal with it since my nest was nearby. With such a competitor around, my food would shrink. Watching the dying subterranean spider, I finished it with a mouthful of acid. Big Brother, are you hunting again? Hannah trotted over. I looked him over. True dragons recover quickly. The wound through Hannah's leg had healed so fast. This is for you, I said, pointing to a blackened, acid-corroded younger spider nearby. Thanks, Big Brother. Hannah brightened and grabbed a spider leg to chop it up. Big Brother, please don't go, she pleaded, recalling when she'd been ambushed while eating alone. Don't worry, I'm not leaving. My eyes lit up. I had just practiced the earth spell Earth Tremor and clearly sensed something underground moving toward Hannah. Sure enough, as Hannah gnawed the spider leg, 2 4 to 5 meter tentacles burst through the ground, lunging to strangle her. Big brother, save me. Hannah leapt in terror, crawling and rolling toward me. Move. I lunged and bit off one tentacle. An angry roar erupted. A massive beast smashed through the earth and revealed itself. Indeed, it was a palm demon fish. Its most striking feature was its tentacles, squid-like limbs used to attack and capture prey. Big brother, we can't beat it, can we? Hannah asked weakly, backing away. This time I activated cooldown and triggered the completed feast talent. A fierce hunger instantly washed over me. The feast began. Like a tiger pouncing, I lunged straight at the palm demon fish. It didn't back down, snapping 3 tentacles at me. I twisted my body to dodge 2 tentacles. The remaining one struck my back. Its suction cups tore several scales from my hide. Seeing it had wounded the enemy, the demon fish pressed its advantage. Other tentacles lashed at my body. Driven by hunger, I grabbed one tentacle and began eating it. My feast progress slowly started to rise. The demon fish cried out in pain and tried to pull its tentacle free, but I gave it no chance, wolfing it down. The demon fish, realizing danger, tried to retreat back underground. I simply clamped down on the demon fish's back and started feeding. Big brother is so ferocious, Hannah said. She hadn't expected me to begin eating the demon fish alive. The more I ate, the weaker the demon fish's resistance became until it finally went completely still. I'd hollowed out its entire back. After a while I stopped eating. The feast progress stalled at 80%. I found that while eating increased the meter, it did so slowly. Finishing this octopus demon fish wouldn't raise it much. The rest is yours, I told drooling Hannah. He pounced eagerly, but this time he kept an eye on me as he ate, to make sure I didn't wander too far. I endured my hunger and went into the hollow I had dug, opened the Earth Mage's Magi storage device, and a strong aroma filled me. These gold coins look tasty, I thought, grabbing a handful and tossing them into my mouth. Crunch feast progress rose by about 1%. Then I ate a more fragrant staff. Its quality was decent. It tasted numbing and spicy. Before I knew it, the coins were nearly gone, and the feast meter finally hit 100%. I waited quietly in the cave for the transformation. My body began to grow. My back rose taller. I opened my eyes and stood up. No new talent appeared. Seems new talents come from the properties of what you consume. Too bad this octopus demon fish, though stronger than a grizzly, had no mana essence. From now on my meals must be more varied. I measured my body nearly 6 meters. This growth rate was extraordinary. I spread my wings and found they had grown much larger. I flapped them experimentally and seemed able to lift off. I slowly stepped out of the cave and found Hannah and Emily waiting for me at the entrance. Big brother, I couldn't finish the demon fish, so I gave some to Emily, Hannah said cautiously. Emily had helped him before. He couldn't bear to see her eating dirt to survive, and he liked having companions. But this is my spoil, even if you gave it away. I should note, how did you grow again? Emily blurted. Hannah seemed to only just realize, yeah, big brother, how did you get bigger? I ignored the 2 little sisters and went to an open area. I took a running start and rapidly beat my huge wings. Soon I felt my limbs lift from the ground. Riding the wind, I actually took flight. Feeling the wind whistle past my ears, a surge of pride rose in me. I will grow strong, live happily, and enjoy the greatest wealth. I will win the most beautiful woman on this continent and trample everyone beneath my feet. Set a small goal, first 1,000 layers of feast. With that in mind, I flew on, attempting to add magic to aid my flight. Instantly, my speed jumped considerably. Hannah and Emily watched me fly, their mouths widening in awe. Are we still talking about dragon slaying? He's different. Take that octopus demon fish. Big brother could slaughter it easily, but it could slaughter the 2 of us without effort. That's the gap. Maybe he's been favored by the dragon god. A few days later, Kaleni looked different. Lord Leo, the city magistrate, bowed humbly to a young blonde man, Prince Laviel. I didn't expect the king would send you to handle this, Leo stammered. Laviel smiled and nodded. He turned and spoke gently to a young woman behind him. Lola, don't worry, this time we'll definitely deal with that black dragon. Thank you, Prince Laviel. I don't know how to repay you, Lola said, tears of gratitude in her eyes. Given our relation, you needn't say that Bill was your brother, and therefore mine. He died here, under mysterious circumstances, his body gone. How could I stand idle? Laviel feigned casualness as he took her hand. Lola looked admiring. Laviel is so brave, she murmured, and he withdrew his hand without showing it. Don't worry, this time I'll become a great dragon slayer, Laviel declared. Dio eyed Laviel skeptically. He looked like only a 5th-level mage overconfident. Rest assured, Lord Leo, I have a plan. I brought 2 level 8 warriors, and most importantly, Laviel produced 2 scrolls from his Magi device. These are destruction scrolls. Leo's pupils constricted. Such scrolls can only be crafted by legendary Magi and are extremely valuable. He couldn't believe Laviel had 2. How about it? Laviel asked. We must win this battle. He inhaled deeply. He hadn't expected the king to grant 2 destruction scrolls. With 2 casts, that black dragon would be unstoppable. Only a mature or old dragon could endure such magic. Oh, and Lola, what about that elf who brought you the news? Laviel thought of the elf's delicate face and felt a spark. The elf met him once, said my brother was killed by a black dragon, then left the manor. A flash of disgust crossed Lola's eyes. That revolting fellow still courted Delia. If not for using his help to avenge her, she wouldn't spend a moment with such trash. What a pity. I was hoping to invite him to my house, Laviel said disappointedly. Lord Leo, arrange lodgings for us and reorganize the troops. We leave tomorrow to deal with the black dragon. At your command, your highness, Leo bowed. The next morning, the square of Kaleni filled with hundreds of warriors in silver armor. Laviel, Lola, and Leo stood on the highest platform. Laviel wanted to give a pre-battle speech to rally the troops, but the words stuck in his throat. Dio saw Laviel's difficulty and shook his head at the soldiers. "Today, we have an important mission, to purge the wicked dragon in the Stone Drum Marsh," cried someone. The soldiers below were unsettled. What a joke. How could people like us take on such a dragon? Memories of that terrifying black figure still lingered in some men's minds, but with Prince Laviel's support he brought powerful warriors and casters. We can surely defeat the beast. Then each of you can be dragon slayers. That promise inspired visions of becoming dragon slayers. Some soldiers' eyes flashed with gold. Returning veterans each received 1 gold coin, and more rewards were given based on enemy kills. A single gold coin could be more than a common family earned in a year. Leo's words strongly motivated the soldiers enough to make them fight desperately. Meanwhile, in the Stone Drum Marsh, Dragon Mother still guarded her hoard and slept, unaware anyone planned to slay her. I stayed in my cave studying magic, with Hannah the Tagalong and Emily outside. Earth Tremor combined with that detection spell might let me sense underground ore deposits. As I explored new spell combos and deepened my understanding of the feast, I began preparing ingredient combinations. But alternating roars through the mountain disrupted my thoughts. What was happening? Irritated, I stepped out of the cave. "Big brother, there are lots of human troops outside the same group as before. They're shouting 'Slay the dragon' and have entered the forest," Hannah reported. I was puzzled. If they intended to slay the dragon, why hadn't they done it earlier? Last time, Dragon Mother pinned them to the ground, not slain. Yet if these people dared shout that slogan, they must feel confident of victory. "Dragon Mother, this isn't good for me." "Your Highness, this isn't right," Dio said, watching hundreds of soldiers shout "Slay the dragon" and march forward. He had planned to lure the black dragon out, then have Laviel ambush it with the destruction spell. But Laviel, eager to show his prowess before that woman, decided instead to make a grand show and face the black dragon head-on. "We are the Del Kingdom's regular army. What's the point of ambush?" Lola exclaimed. She hadn't realized Laviel was so unreliable. She still smiled and said, "Your Highness is right. We'll show the people of the continent the strength of the Del Kingdom," and as they expect. Dragon Mother was enraged by these fools. Her 16-meter form, like a small mountain, soared over the soldiers. "Damn humans, how dare you disturb the great Black Dragon Mother?" Endless corrosive acid dripped from the sky. The soldiers hadn't fully reacted before their bodies were eaten away. "Humans, you will pay for this." An overwhelming dragon aura pressed down on Leo and the others, a bloodline suppression. Though Leo's 2 guards wanted to flee, they stayed to protect Laviel. That was their duty. Laviel was about to soil himself. "Your Highness, use the forbidden spell," Lola urged frantically. Laviel hurriedly produced a golden scroll and activated it with his mana. As he poured power in, the surrounding earth elements were stirred. Dragon Mother sensed something was wrong and began to breathe at them. But just as she reached them, a semi-transparent wall blocked her. A costly parental relic on Laviel was working. At the same time, I suddenly looked up at the sky. Hannah and Emily also glanced upward but saw nothing. "What's wrong?" Hannah asked, puzzled. "The earth elements are off. There's some magic at work," I began. But before I finished, countless fire-lit meteors rained down from the sky. "This is forbidden spell, magic meteors. Run." I saw trouble and immediately started dodging towards safety. "Big brother, wait for us." Hannah and Emily hurried to follow. "Your Highness, your destruction magic is area effect. Why didn't you warn us?" Leo watched in anguish as soldiers were smashed into pulp by the meteors. Had he known this was destruction magic, he wouldn't have sent any men. This was a needless slaughter. "How dare you question my decision, Leo?" Laviel snapped. "They're mere soldiers dying on the path to slaying a dragon is their honor. After we kill the dragon and seize its hoard, we can recruit as many soldiers as we like." He added that meteors and area magic couldn't kill the black dragon, only deal 1 point of damage. "Heh, don't forget, I have another forbidden spell scroll," Laviel said. "Hurry, Your Highness, the black dragon is charging us." Under their gazes, Laviel activated the destruction scroll, summoned Greater Fire Wolf. As Dragon Mother lunged toward them, a massive fireball struck and sent her flying. A blazing wolf-like creature appeared, the one that had launched the fireball. "Well done, kill it," someone cried. Laviel was ecstatic. Dragon Mother shook her head, roared at the fire wolf, and whipped her tail at it, but her tail passed straight through the beast, inflicting no damage. Useless fire wolves are nearly immune to physical attacks. "Your Highness, as I understand it, a summoned fire wolf exists only for a limited time, yet this one seems stronger than legend. The scroll's power should sustain it for at least a moment, enough to kill the black dragon. And this isn't an ordinary fire wolf, it's a fire wolf lord." From the start, Dragon Mother had fallen to the lower ground, and 2 level 8 warriors stood nearby, watching like tigers ready to pounce. If the battle continued, Dragon Mother was likely to lose. She knew this, but giving up her hoard and fleeing in disgrace tortured her. She struggled inwardly. Leo and the others saw the black dragon situation. "Don't let her escape," someone cried. "Black dragon, I give you a chance. Submit to me and sign a contract. You'll have a brighter future." Dragon Mother glanced at Laviel as if he were an idiot, then returned to dealing with the Firewolf Lord. This mage's magic strongly countered Dragon Mother. Several times she tried to bypass the wolf, but Laviel blocked her. Seeing her wounds mount, she made a decision. Fly toward the stone drum marsh, where water elements were abundant and the fire wolf would be greatly limited. Let her go, pursue her, Lavielle shouted. They chased after her quickly. By a clump of grass beside the stone drum marsh, Hannah, Emily, and I hid. I knew Dragon Mother this time faced grave danger. In the distance, over the stone drum marsh, Dragon Mother, covered in wounds, shot into the sky, ascending straight upward. Behind her, a much shrunken firewolf lord also rose from the water's surface. Seeing the notably diminished firewolf lord, Dragon Mother showed a sly smile. Her mana was low. In the marsh just now, she had used the environment and water magic to heavily wound the wolf. Now this guy was badly injured, but thanks to that foolish human, wolves generally don't choose such a disadvantageous place. During the fight, that foolish human insisted on ordering him deep into the marsh. Humans of the Del Kingdom, prepare to feel my wrath. After the parting threat, Dragon Mother left at once. Hurry, pursue her, Lavielle shouted to the 2 level 8 warriors. Your Highness, she can fly, we can't fly without reaching Sanctum level, one warrior said. Damn, it surprised Lavielle that the Black Dragon was so cunning. The current firewolf couldn't possibly chase her, not the Black Dragon Mother. Seeing Lola's disappointed face, Lavielle gritted his teeth and produced 2 scrolls. Windwalk scrolls that grant flight. Catch that black dragon for me. These are, aside from the combat scrolls, the most precious items I have. The 2 warriors took the scrolls, activated them with combat chi. Ephemeral green wings appeared behind them and they took to the air, then pursued Dragon Mother. Lord Leo, you go too. It's your turn to contribute, Lavielle told Leo at his side. That old man had been slacking. Lavielle truly hadn't been blind to it. At your command, Your Highness, Leo said helplessly. I watched Dragon Mother depart from afar and sighed she'd completely forgotten him and those 3 hatchlings. How irresponsible. A seemingly dazed fire wolf suddenly fixed its gaze on my direction. I felt uneasy. Why was it looking over here from so far? Lavielle and the wolf were mentally linked. He knew of the wolf's discovery. The black dragons escaping, go capture them, Lavielle shouted, drawing his blade as they scattered. I watched in confusion as the wolf charged toward us. What else were you going to say, Hannah? Enough talk, split up, I said, then flew off first. I can fly. My chances of escape are certainly higher than those 2 flightless dragonlings. Hannah and Emily, helpless, could only scuttle toward the clump of brush behind the bone marsh. Hey, big face one. Lavielle called to me among the 3 little dragons. He thought I looked the coolest, the only one worthy of him. Damn. I watched the fire wolf sprint toward me. A few fireballs exploded toward me with crackling sounds. My flying skill wasn't that refined yet, though I dodged several. One struck me. I looked at my scales, only some blackened scorch marks remained. The damage wasn't as high as I'd imagined. After a moment, I could still hold up. Such minor wounds would heal thanks to true dragon physiology. Looking at that fire wolf, it had shrunk too much. Its strength seemed to have dropped significantly. The fire wolf hurled 2 more fireballs that slammed into me. Boom, my body was thrown to the ground, leaving a large crater. Ha ha, you can't escape, be my mount, Lavielle shouted, raising his blade madly. Catching the big by taking the small is more profitable. The small are easier to tame. Who gave you the illusion that you could be captured? My golden eyes narrowed, pupils fixed on Lavielle and Lola. Only then did Lavielle remember that besides Lola there seemed to be no other companion at his side. Injure it badly, now. Lavielle, sensing the fire wolf lord's presence, seemed pressed for time. The wolf lord resumed attacking me. I spat a gout of acidic saliva, but it did very little damage. I knew physical attacks did very little to it, so I didn't rush to tear it with fangs and claws. Instead, I fixed my gaze on Lavielle and Lola nearby. They seemed to understand my intent and hurriedly hid behind the fire wolf. Lavielle, you and the wolf deal with this black dragon. He's not simple. I'm a prince. I can't be doing this killing myself, Lavielle protested, shaking his head. Lola cursed Lavielle as a worthless wretch. If the king had more than one son, if the rest were daughters, he wouldn't be heir. I turned back to focus on the fire wolf and silently triggered the feast. Immediately, a fierce hunger swept through me. I found that as the feast stacked, that hunger grew stronger and stronger, filling me with the urge to devour everything. The fire wolf before me emanated an overwhelmingly rich scent that made my mouth water, and I flew straight at the fire wolf lord. Is this black dragon insane? Does he really think he can bite a fire wolf to death? It shouldn't be that simple. Lola watched my ferocious look with some unease. He glanced at Lavielle and took a slow step back. At that moment, I bit one of the fire wolf's forelegs off, ripped it hard, and then swallowed it. Impossible, Lavielle gaped. The fire wolf is basically made of flame. How could a foreleg be bitten off and eaten? Feeling the feast's progress, my hunger intensified. The feast's application is vast. Normally, even if I bit the fire wolf it wouldn't matter. But under the feast's blessing I could deal true damage to the wolf. Its immunity to physical attacks failed. The fire wolf roared as flames surged toward the severed leg and regenerated it, but its body shrank further. Seeing that, I went in for more. The fire wolf hurriedly rose to escape, but I followed into the air. Amid the howls, I bit and ate the wolf piece by piece. Its body dwindled while my feast progress increased. Lavielle couldn't let this continue. If the fire wolf lost, we wouldn't get away. Lola watched helplessly as the wolf went from dominating to weak and powerless. If it weren't for that idiot's bad orders, the wolf wouldn't be like this. Don't worry, Lola, I have a spatial teleportation scroll. My father gave it to me to save my life. A teleportation scroll, Lola exclaimed. Spatial magic is rarer than other types, let alone made into a scroll. Can I see it? Lola asked gently. Of course, Lavielle replied, noticing worship and envy in her eyes. By then, the fire wolf had shrunk to its limit. I seized the creature, swallowed it with a gulp, then let out a satisfied belch and turned my gaze to the two present. Lavielle was stunned. When he looked back, he suddenly realized Lola was already more than 10 meters behind him, and she had already activated the spatial teleportation scroll. Lola, what are you doing? We're leaving together, Lavielle shouted as he raced forward frantically, but Lola's eyes were full of resolve. Lavielle, this teleportation scroll is low quality, it can only transport one person, sending more could cause accidents. I'm sorry, Lavielle. I know you love me, didn't you say you'd do anything for me? Damn you, you bitch. Stop. Lavielle's eyes reddened. By then my feast was nearing its end after finishing the fire wolf. I immediately lunged toward Lola, my speed far surpassing Lavielle's. As ripples spread through space, Lola's figure blurred. In the final moment I reached her, swung my maw, and with a scream her body vanished, leaving only a pale arm behind. She got away after all. Lavielle stood there dumbfounded, utterly crushed, not reacting until my shadow fell over him. Black Dragon, I was wrong, please give me a chance for revenge. Lavielle's eyes showed a madness. If I spare you, what will I get? I looked at his posture. The bootlicker has truly awakened. I'm the Del Kingdom's only prince and sole heir. I can find a way to kill the king, and once I become king, I can devote the entire kingdom's resources to worship you. Lavielle slowly calmed. A glint shone in my eyes. That sounded not bad. A flicker of joy crossed Lavielle's face, but my next sentence plunged him into despair. Why should I trust someone who would kill his own father? I said. No reason. Aren't you an evil dragon? Isn't this what dragons like best? I said no more. I spat a jet of acidic saliva. In despair, Lavielle was corroded into powder. I bent down, took Lavielle's magical device, and then flew off swiftly. After flying for dozens of minutes, I found a cave. Right after the feast ended, I forced down the urge to molt. This feast had mainly fed on that fire element lord, so I was eager to see what changes would occur. Once again, as an observer, I witnessed my own growth, my body gradually enlarged. This time, my HP seemed a bit lower than before, and the feast's cooldown had shortened. I wasn't surprised by the new talent after all. The last earth magic talent came the same way. I have some conjectures about HP and cooldown, but to be sure, I'll need further experiments. A few days later, the Del Kingdom exploded into chaos. The king's only son had been killed by a malevolent dragon while slaying dragons, and the body was reportedly found in a horribly mangled state. The king fainted from anger on the spot. When he awoke, he was furious and immediately executed the 2-level 8 warriors who had gone with Lavielle. Afterward, when Duke Aura's daughter Lola was found and brought back, the situation became clear. According to Lola, there had actually been a young black dragon there, not just the black dragon mother. While all the warriors dealt with the black dragon mother, that cunning young black dragon took the chance to ambush Lola, costing her an arm. Prince Lavielle, to save his beloved Lola, gave her the spatial teleportation scroll and faced the dragon alone. After recounting this to the black dragon, Lola was so heartbroken she fainted, and even in her sleep she kept calling Lavielle's name, proof of their sincere love. Your Highness, Prince Lavielle is truly dead, said a blonde woman in a maid outfit to a pretty red-haired woman inside a luxurious manor. The red-haired woman stood and arched a brow. Are you sure? Yes. The court mages confirmed it many times. Prince Lavielle was reduced to a few corroded bones trying to save Miss Lola. Do you truly believe Lavielle is that self-sacrificing? Sophia mocked. The red-haired woman was Princess Sophia, the Del Kingdom's 3rd princess. Highly talented, she had reached 7th level spellcaster this year. But she's a woman and cannot inherit the throne, and now the king's only son is dead. The kingdom seems calm on the surface, but dark currents are already roiling beneath. I watched from the forest, keeping an eye on the stir near the stone drum claw. Hundreds of well-equipped soldiers stood guard nearby, wearing masks that seemed to block ambient miasma. I watched carts piled with gold and treasures being loaded by those soldiers, and noticed there weren't the powerful parental weapons I'd seen in the Arcane Academy before, so Dragon Mother must have taken some of the loot. I stared at the last cart, which carried a huge black bundle, revealing the faint outline of a tiger-headed weapon. 2 powerful 9th-level spellcasters guarded the convoy. With my current strength, I couldn't confront them. Night quickly fell, yet they still hadn't left the Stone Drum Marsh. The wagons were unbearably heavy, and the path was nearly impassable. Although the draft horses bore some Earthlord blood and were many times larger than ordinary horses, they still struggled. Rest a bit, this damn place is annoying, said Rod, a 9th-level wood mage, wiping sweat from his brow. But the Stone Drum Marsh is too dangerous, especially at night. We should get out of this thicket first. Bran, an elemental mage, shook his head. Look at the soldiers, do they still have strength? Rod asked with a wry smile, pointing at the convoy. Fine, Bran sighed. Make camp and rest here, Rod called aloud. Everyone exhaled. None of them could hold out much longer. This was more exhausting than several battles. Seeing their fatigue, I knew my chance had come. Just as a soldier prepared to rest, a talon reached from the darkness and crushed his head. I did likewise, taking care of the remaining soldiers. I approached the last cart, produced the ring-shaped magical device I'd taken from Lavielle, and with mental control, the cart's contents were absorbed into the device. Just after I succeeded, an angry shout rang out in the distance. I realized I'd likely tripped a ward on the cart, but my objective was achieved and the rest of the treasure didn't matter. Before anyone arrived, I expelled a cone of acidic breath over 7 or 8 wagons and slipped away under cover of night. When the 2 spellcasters and their soldiers arrived, only a scene of devastation remained. I took my spoils and left the Bone Marsh, heading north. There, the jungle was dense and sparsely populated, perfect for me to grow. I searched for Emily and Hannah but found no trace. I don't know where they escaped to. I wish them luck. With that in mind, I picked a cave on a cliff. Went inside. It held no creatures, only scattered feathers, some kind of bird. I found a clean spot, sat down, and began inspecting today's haul. I opened the magic device and a pile of items appeared before my eyes first, some gold and silver coins. Among them, the thing I prized most was that massive weapon. Back in Dragon Mother's cave, I wanted to use it as feast fodder, but intimidated by Dragon Mother, I abandoned the idea. These gold and silver coins, along with the other weapons and that powerful battle axe, should be enough for the next feast, though more is always better. I decided to go out and fill the ingredient gap with some magical beasts. I beat my wings and flew off to hunt the nearby monsters. Some beasts emit a kind of intimidating aura to mark their territory, and to me, those are the most obvious targets. It took little effort to catch a Gale Wolf and a Goza, the 2 are kings within their domains. But here, there are almost no predators above me. I sit at the top of the food chain. I looked at the carcasses, the coins and weapons, my eyes gleaming with anticipation. Then the feast began. I first chopped down the 2 beasts, then turned to the huge axe. The axe seemed high quality, but with the feast's blessing my teeth were beyond razor sharp. I devoured the axe bit by bit. While eating, I also swallowed some coins as hors d'oeuvres. Coins and silver are lower tier ingredients for me. Beast meat suits the feast better. When I finished every ingredient, the feast finally ended. Once again, I witnessed my own growth. This feast's transformation, besides size, focused on reshaping my teeth and claws. My body swelled until it stopped at 9 meters, and my stats were exactly as I expected. That unnamed weapon's trait seemed to be armor-piercing, and the feast grafted that property onto me. I raised my wings and slowly stepped out of the makeshift cave. Now, in this world I have some means of self-preservation. I'm here, so elves and fae, beware. I spread my wings and left, flying high into the sky. Standing on the ground, I used Earth Pulse to sense beneath the surface. It was a few days later, I didn't even know where I was. All around were trees, just trees. 3 days of flying and I still hadn't left the forest. For safety, I always use Earth Pulse after landing to check underground conditions and prevent ambushes by unknown creatures. This time it led me to something good, topaz. I was thrilled. This ore is extremely hard and beloved by true dragons. Beneath me ran an entire topaz vein. Roughly estimated, it could yield hundreds of tons large for a topaz vein. For any true dragon, this is immense wealth, and this ore would make fine feast material. Just then, I sensed some magical fluctuations. Tall, 2-meter-plus creatures appeared before me and surrounded me. Forest trolls. I recognized the species. It's really a dragon, a troll carrying a huge bone club, exclaimed excitedly. And it looks immature. This is our tribe's hope. If they accept the dragon blood baptism, our tribe's strength will change dramatically. I sized up the group, about 80 or so forest trolls, a whole tribe. They're ready-made miners. After all, there's this huge vein under their feet, and I don't have time to dig it myself. Stupid trolls, are you truly prepared to face a true dragon? I spread my wings, larger than those of an ordinary dragon, to appear even more threatening. Some troll warriors beside me felt crushed inward. Some could barely hold their weapons. Saddle, the troll chieftain, looked at the dragon and wondered if their tribe could really handle such a being. Saddle, this might be our tribe's only chance to grow strong, one troll said as Saddle wavered. I won't give up, Saddle declared, his eyes filled with resolve. A dragon is treasure from head to tail. Its cheeks could be made into the hardest armor, its teeth and horns into mighty weapons. Dragon meat will strengthen us, and dragon blood can turn ordinary warriors into powerful draconic blood fighters. For the tribe, kill the dragon together, take its blood, and we'll never go hungry again. Encouraged by Sadal, some trolls mustered courage. The dozen or so troll warriors at the front hurled their bone spears. I didn't dodge those spears at all, but to be safe, I secretly buffed myself. I would use my greatest posture to conquer these trolls. Countless spears bounced off the ground without even piercing my scales. More. I sneered at the trolls. Saddle pulled out his spear made from a metal taken from a human adventurer he'd killed before and thrust it at my head. I opened my mouth and casually bit down on the spear. Crack, I bit the spear clean in two and swallowed it. Reptiles, I'll give you one more chance. Show some real strength. Saddle and the trolls were stunned. If all dragons were this powerful, how did their ancestors slay dragons centuries ago? It seems you can't keep entertaining me then die. Wait, honored Black Dragon, our Malteith tribe has offended your might. We'll offer all our tribe's treasures and beg your forgiveness. Treasure? I could kill you all and keep the loot anyway. I sneered, mocking their attempt to atone for offending a true dragon. Sato looked troubled. Black dragons among the chromatic are infamous for being treacherous and deceitful. What do you want, Lord Black Dragon? He asked, forcing his voice out. It's not what I want, it's what you want. Do you want to live or die? We want to live, Saddle said, clenching his fist. You seem a clever troll. I want you to become my vassals. We would gladly be your vassals, my lord. Saddle pounded his chest. I wondered if his eager agreement hit a trap. I felt a twinge of unease watching them. Then tell me why you should be my vassals, I asked coolly. Saddle had long heard that chromatic dragons are capricious. Today he experienced it firsthand. Your towering form, your majestic bearing, and your great power have conquered us. Saddle praised me with his limited vocabulary. We accept your rule. Tell us your name, O leader of Malteeth tribe. He and his people bowed to me. Saddal, I'm a bit surprised someone has that name. Yes, my lord. My name is Saddal, he said. Saddal it is, no shame in it. Now, take me to your tribal lands. As you command, my master. I followed the trolls into a valley that was the Malteeth tribe's territory. I surveyed the tribe, roughly 100 adult warriors in total, with perhaps 300 elders and juveniles. I'll have quarters prepared for you soon, and food delivered, Saddle said. But first, Saddle, why do you have so few warriors in the Malteeth tribe? My lord, we used to have many warriors, but recently, a nearby Orcish tribe has clashed severely with us, and we've lost many people, Saddle sighed. From his explanation I learned this region, the Sunset Forest, was their domain. They've been prospering here, prey was abundant, and they occasionally raided caravans, living comfortably. Beside the Sunset Forest lived an Orc tribe of similar strength. Historically, the two tribes had no major conflicts and were relatively peaceful. But recently, the Orc tribe inexplicably began invading their lands, sparking many major clashes with losses on both sides. I had been thinking miners might be scarce, turns out I'd found them. Under Saddle's arrangements, I moved into the valley's deepest, largest cave. Saddle also brought out the treasures the forest trolls had collected over the years. I was a little disappointed by the trolls' hoard, pathetic compared to Dragon Mother's. I picked up a blue necklace. Its magical aura was very strong. My lord, we seized this from a caravan long ago, Saddle answered. The caravan leader called it the Siren's Tear. It's a magic weapon, but we couldn't find a way to use it. Siren's Tear, I mused, feeling its importance. Saddle, send people to our previous underground site. There are ore veins there. I want you to mine a batch quickly. My lord, forest trolls aren't skilled miners, Saddle fretted. They can fight, but mining is hard. You become my vassals and the first task you tell me you can't complete. I said, my gaze dangerous. Fear not, my lord, we will mine it quickly. Saddle blurted, then hurried away. Then get to it. Saddle left the cave and met an elderly troll, the tribe's eldest, Shalman. How is Saddle? Shalman asked, seeing Saddle's worried expression. After Saddle relayed my commands, Shalman fell into thought. Prepare the warriors and weapons, we depart soon. I have an idea. What do you mean? Forgot our 2 reserve food storerooms. Shalman is filial. Oh right, how did I not think of it? Goblins and kobolds are best at this sort of thing. Saddle slapped his head. There are 2 small tribes in the Sunset Forest. A goblin tribe and a small kobold tribe. Those 2 groups have actually been kept by the Malteeth tribe as granaries. Every season when hunting is hard, the Malteeth send warriors to capture goblins and kobolds for use. I watched Saddle hurry and paid him no mind. I don't care how he handles it, the ore must be mine for me. I never slack on anything related to the feast. Thinking that, I glanced at the Siren's Tear beside me. It felt even stronger than that huge weapon before. Unsurprisingly, the Siren's Tear would be the main ingredient this time. With some ore and coins added, the feast should barely be sufficient. Hurry, you disgusting lot. The troll warriors drove long-eared, squat green-skinned goblins to the topaz vein I had found earlier. Another group of warriors pressed some kobolds ahead while the goblin leader trembled and asked, Honored Lord Saddle, what are you going to do? Saddle ignored him. He stood on high and shouted, Listen, whether kobold or goblin, from now on, the Malteeth tribe will no longer eat you. The moment Saddle said it, an uproar broke out. Forest trolls won't eat them. Really? Beneath your feet lies a huge vein. I require you to mine a batch in the shortest time. This is your chance to prove your value. If you fail, Saddle paused, then the goblins cried, My lord, rest assured, mining is our talent. We'll finish it quickly. They were excited. These are your tools, Saddle said, pointing to a pile of white bones. They're the bones of the feral predators on our hunting trails. One more thing, you can trade mined ore for meat, 1 portion of meat for 10 times the ore, Saddle said, pained. There was no other choice, you can't have them working hungry. If they delay the time I demand, Saddle couldn't imagine the consequences. With that, the goblins and kobolds howled and charged toward the vein. They truly are mining experts. Soon, pit after pit appeared on the surface. The goblins could accurately detect the easiest spots to mine, and before long their leader returned carrying several chunks of topaz to Saddle. Saddle was thrilled at the sight. Such beautiful stones must be valuable, no wonder the lord prized them. My lord, I found ore too. A panting kobold arrived, bearing a large chunk. Good, bring the ore and follow me. Saddle waved happily. While I was organizing ingredients, I saw Saddle enter the cave with 2 short fellows. My attention was fully on the ore they carried. Saddle, I didn't expect you to mine so quickly. My lord, we had goblins and kobolds mine together. The goblin leader Vix and the kobold Dorg were stunned. They hadn't expected to see a dragon. Dorg prostrated himself and pledged fealty. Great true dragon, Dorg swears loyalty to you. Fine, I accept your fealty. Great true dragon, Vix pledged. I also have major news, Vix hurriedly added. Seeing even a mere kobold swear loyalty to a true dragon, he became bold. Our tribe previously discovered a vein of magic iron near the Sunset Forest, but it's adjacent to an orc tribe. So, they didn't mind the magic iron. Am I really that lucky? Vix blurted, gathering himself. Great true dragon, I was once a slave among humans helping them mine. I learned how to extract and identify ores, so that vein must be a very rich magic iron deposit. Saddle's expression soured. How dare this creature not tell him about a magic iron vein? Magic iron is one of the continent's most coveted veins. Unlike ordinary iron, magic iron can be directly enchanted and is intrinsically harder than normal ore. Weapons, armor, and countless items rely on magic iron. Good Vix, tell me your name, I said. Seeing that Vix was knowledgeable pleased me even more. These are high-caliber people. Great true dragon majesty, my name is Vix. Vix bowed his head and spoke fearfully. Though his heart leapt with joy, he felt his fate had finally changed. In a couple days, we'll set out to inspect that magic iron vein. I plan to go after the feast. As for any orc tribes there, I'll selectively ignore them. I'll deal with them when convenient. Thanks to Vix and the kobolds' persistent efforts, they finally mined over 5,000 caddies of ore. At my request, Sato led troll warriors to hunt 3 magical beasts. Inside the cave, I sealed the entrance with earth magic, ordered Sadal and the others not to disturb me, and began the feast. The main course was the Siren's Tear. When the feast began, its scent was intoxicating, tasting salty with a flavor of the sea. Then came the topaz. I devoured over 3,000 caddies, and I also consumed the 3 magical beasts the trolls had hunted, swallowing their corpses as well. After eating a little coin as seasoning, the feast reached 100%. In my perception, the feast primarily remodeled my throat area. As I opened my eyes, the feast's transformation was complete. The new talent was indeed one of the great predator's core skills, an almost miraculous ability in this world. It can interrupt spellcasting. I'm now a mage's nemesis. A warrior charging with ki might also interrupt thinking that made me want to roar, but I restrained myself. Just as I stepped out of the cave to discuss the magic iron vein with Saddle, a troll warrior came running over in a panic. Bad news, those damned faux orcs are attacking. What? Those damned imposter orcs dared provoke us? Saddle roared in fury. Trolls have usually been the ones to pick fights, so for the faux orcs to start this and come to our doorstep, my lord, I'll go deal with them first, Sadal said, bowing slightly. Go, our magic iron vein lies beside the faux orc tribe. Sooner or later we'll have to face them. Outside the forest troll tribe, hundreds of humanoids stood ready. Thank you, Iron Hoof tribe, for coming to help, a cat-eared girl said crisply. You're welcome, Winnie. We faux orcs should unite, or we'll be bullied to death, Cook said heartily. They're coming, Winnie said, watching the rising smoke. Damn faux orcs, you've brought reinforcements, Winnie said. We don't want war, we only want a temporary place to settle. This Sunset Forest belongs entirely to our forest trolls, don't try to take it, Saddle growled. It seems you're ready, Cook said, waving his hand as Iron Hoof warriors formed up to attack Cook. You dare duel me? Saddle produced a drumstick from behind him. Why not? Cook replied unafraid, drawing his double-bladed axe. Saddle's eyes hardened though he seemed calm, only he knew how troublesome this foe could be. I'll let you strike first, Cook said confidently. You asked for this. Saddle didn't hesitate and swung his bone club at Cook with full force. Cook countered, using his great axe to block Saddle's blow. The impact knocked Saddle back 4 or 5 steps. Your strength has grown. Time to get serious. Sato refused to show weakness. Come on. Though inwardly he no longer believed he could win. Cook's right kick drove force into the ground. The earth rippled visibly towards Sato. Knowing the Tauren-style stomp, Sato leapt aside, but Cook paid no mind and brought his left kick down hard, unleashing a tremendous force. The force traveled through the ground to where Saddle had just landed. Saddle was slammed, flying, hitting the ground and coughing up a mouthful of blood. He had lost, Cook declared. I lost, Saddle said, wiping blood from his mouth. Winnie and Cook exchanged smiles, their objective seemed achieved. But you still won't gain residence rights in the Sunset Forest, Saddle continued. You want to back out? Cook's gaze turned dangerous. As tensions froze, a deep voice spoke. Because he has no authority to decide. A massive shadow loomed over them. Winnie looked up to see an unusually ferocious black dragon standing behind them. Master, you're here. Saddle struggled to stand. He felt like his bones were about to break. The Tauren's iron hoof stomp truly leaves no room for error. Dragon Saddle, you're actually worshipping a giant wheel? Cook and all the Taurens stared at me like facing a dire enemy. This black dragon's aura was overwhelming, and its appearance seemed different from the black dragons people usually describe. At that moment I was staring at Winnie in the distance. Could she be a beast wife or a cat girl? I felt my dead otaku heart coming back to life. Cook kept staring at Winnie from the start and couldn't help using his large frame to push Winnie behind him. Legend says chromatic dragons like eating beautiful maidens. This black dragon won't want to eat Winnie, will he? What will you do, black dragon? Cook glared at me. By size, this black dragon looked like a young dragon, not weak. You trespassed on my territory and injured my kin, and you still ask what I'll do. I lowered my head to look down at Cook. We really didn't mean to invade others' lands, it was unavoidable. Winnie stepped out from behind Cook and said, I don't care what your reasons are. The fact is, you offended me. Black Dragon, do you really want to be our enemy? We have many warriors here and you're not yet fully grown. If it comes to battle, you'll surely die, Cook said. I looked at the well-equipped Tauren. Behind him, the warriors were strong. A typical young black dragon might indeed die, but I'm no ordinary black dragon. Seems you'll need a lesson. I paid no mind to Cook's threat. Everyone, be careful. Prepare to attack. Cook was decisive. Winnie's form slowly became transparent and then vanished into the air. My lord, beware the ambush. That woman disguised as a beast can hide her body in the surrounding space, Saddle warned loudly. Curious, I glanced where she had disappeared. The concealment was thorough. I ignored that side and focused on the Tauren warriors before me. Saddle, don't go up. Let me handle it. I stopped the eager killers. Such easy prey is hard won. I don't want to be harmed here. A foe raised his double-bladed great axe and leapt high. Seeing such a large target, I couldn't resist, so I swatted Cook away with a single tail strike. Cook screamed, slammed hard into the ground, several bones broken, but he forced himself up. Is this the power of a great dragon? Everyone, press the attack. Cook didn't hesitate and ordered all the Iron Hoof tribe's elite warriors to use the Iron Hoof stomp. Thud thud thud. Under countless Tauren stomps, shockwaves rolled toward me. Crucially, a dark silhouette appeared at my neck, Catgirl Winnie, trying to restrain me and prevent my vocal control. With a casual shake of my head, Winnie was flung away. In fact, the defenses around my eyes are no weaker than plate armor. Winnie spat blood and hurriedly hit again. A natural-born assassin, I no longer paid attention to the little cat after all. A cat is still a cat and harmless to me. Cook glanced at Winnie and the others resumed their attack. Just as they reformed and charged, I slowly spoke. Rupture. Instantly, within a 30-meter radius, countless spikes erupted from the ground, and the earth became strangely soft. A force held the Tauren warriors from moving quickly, leaving them impaled by the spikes. Several Tauren were turned into porcupines, lifeless and extremely gory scene. Cook's eyes reddened. These were the Iron Hoof tribe's elite, yet 7 or 8 were lost in that strike. He unleashed his strongest move, the double Iron Hoof stomp, then grabbed his great axe and charged again. I realized the Iron Hoof stomp is suited for engineering or clearing fodder troops. It wasn't very effective against me. I opened my great maw and unleashed a primal scream. Immediately, both the surrounding Tauren warriors and the Troll warriors felt their inner mana surge and spiral out of control, no longer under their command. Winnie was forced out of hiding. While she was still bewildered, I seized her in my claw. Little kitten, I've got you. I held Winnie up before my eyes to examine her. Impossible. Winnie couldn't believe it. One roar from this black dragon had made the mana in her body go berserk and forced her out of stealth. He was truly her natural enemy. Evil dragon. Let Winnie go. Cook spat blood and said to me, She's my prize. Do you just release her because you feel like it? I'm sorry, Cook. It's my fault for dragging your tribe into this, Winnie said, her face streaked with tears. Saddle locked those people up for me. I looked at the stunned Saddle beside me and said, As you command, my lord, your might has deeply shaken me. All right, go on quickly. I can't wait to study this beast girl in my hands, I ordered. I spread my wings and flew. Before long I was at the mouth of my cave. Holding the despairing Winnie, I walked into the cave. Then, calming myself, Winnie pleaded, Your Grace, please release Cook and the others, it's all my fault. Seeing her pitiable expression, I was unmoved. I will not release them. Then what will you do? Winnie whispered. I want you to become my retinue. To serve me, I said. Your Grace, I can have the Rose tribe join you. But Cook and his people are Tauren, their tempers are stubborn. These guys really are a bunch of docile oafs used to love braised beef myself. Your Grace, please don't eat them. I will do my utmost to persuade Cook, Winnie begged. Hearing this, she became utterly panicked. Chromatic dragons are indeed terrifying. I found her reaction amusing. I'll give you the chance tomorrow, take me to your tribe. My lord, our tribe's situation is actually dire, Winnie explained, and I began to understand why the usually non-interfering half-orc tribes would try to invade Sunset Forest. According to what you said, their homeland used to be picturesque with plenty of game, but half a year ago, some meteors suddenly fell into the mountains. Records in their tribe describe it as a meteor strike. There might have been some rare materials, so they sent warriors to investigate, but those warriors hadn't even reached the meteor site. When they began vomiting as if sick, when they returned, they died writhing in agony. Winnie said they stopped sending more people to scout, thinking the matter might end there. But later, beasts around the tribe grew feral, some disappeared, others fled, causing food shortages. Seeing less food, the tribe sent people to gather plants, assuming things would improve with time. A month later, the plants withered, and some of the tribe fell ill, so they had to come to Sunset Forest seeking new land. From what I heard, it sounded like a contagious agent. Meteors can carry strange substances that cause odd diseases, but killing plants too is alarming. This is troublesome, and my magic iron vein is there as well. I'll have to inspect it personally. Given my constitution, I shouldn't be felled by any contagion. I looked at Winnie helplessly, can't even do the things I enjoy now. By age I'm still a hatchling, but by size I should be an adolescent dragon. Only an adolescent dragon can cast polymorph to assume a humanoid form, so this is pure frustration with no outlet. Winnie, from now on you'll be my witch, I declared. Winnie widened her eyes. What do you refuse? I looked at her with a slightly dangerous gaze. I agree, Winnie exhaled. She'd long heard chromatic dragons are capricious. Prepare some clothes, a maid outfit, now come help me wipe my scales, I ordered. Winnie paused, then complied. She dragged a large stone basin from the corner to my side and began washing. Not bad, kind of ticklish. As I enjoyed it, Sadal burst in, breathless. My lord. That cook has been clamoring to see you bring him up, as you command. Soon, Cook was brought in. Your Grace, we have offended you, but Winnie is a good girl, please don't harm him, Cook blurted upon seeing me. He's mine now, I won't hurt him. What did you do to him? I asked. Brother Cook, I'm fine. Winnie poked her head out from behind me. Cook exhaled in relief. Brother Cook, I've decided let our Rose tribe become your retinue. What? He's an evil dragon, Cook shouted. How could a pure girl like Winnie serve an evil dragon? Truly a fool. Sadal, however, ordered all the Tauren warriors and Cook to keep digging. Their daily workload is 10 times that of the gold carriers and the goblins. If they don't finish, they don't get to eat, and the food is worse than what the gold carriers get. Tell them this is Cook's arrogance's price. As ordered, Sadal forced Cook out of the cave. Master, please, Winnie begged as soon as Sadal left. She even started calling me master. This is the price they should pay. Get ready, tomorrow we go to your tribe. Winnie's crying drifted from the side, but I ignored her. At this moment, I was swiftly flying through the sky with Winnie. Winnie, how much longer until we reach your tribe? Almost there, Winnie said, curiously looking at the surroundings. This was her first time flying so high in the sky. I landed on a high cliff. My lord, what's wrong? Winnie asked, puzzled. There are humans ahead. A few minutes later, a human convoy came into view. Something was off. I watched the convoy and saw metal caged seats holding many humanoid creatures with animal ears and tails. Misha and Layla Olsen, they're elders of my tribe. Please help me rescue them. I, who'd long regarded beast girls as my private property, was furious that these traffickers had captured so many beautiful beast girls. Winnie said these humans were strong, we'd need the right moment. Ados, we've caught so many half-orcs. This time we'll make a fortune. A knight with a huge greatsword told the nearby fighting warriors. No doubt, and there are several prime specimens this time. A warrior looked at the trembling female orcs in the iron cages and said, wait, I'll attack you head-on, use a talent to flank from behind, and take out the convoy guards. Can you do it? No problem. Winnie thrust out her clawed hands, eyes full of killing intent. Then I charged straight at the convoy. I targeted the two warriors at the front of the convoy. They were clearly the escort main force. While those two looked relaxed, I unleashed Rupture and countless spikes shot up from the ground. The two reacted quickly and leapt into the air, but that played right into me. I spat a gout of acid. By the time they tried to use their fighting chi to block it, it was too late. The acid instantly burned the great sword warrior's body, half of him was corroded beyond recognition. The nearby great axe warrior used his broad axe face to shield against the acid. It's the black dragon Lados. The great sword warrior knew he wouldn't survive, but didn't want to die. In despair, he reached for the great axe warrior. I gave them no chance, I swallowed him whole. The great axe warrior, Lados, glared at me in fury. Why is there a black dragon here, and such a strange one? An 8th level warrior felled so quickly. Come attack me, he yelled, controlled by a caster. The convoy's other warriors closed in and, under his command, launched an attack on me. I paid them no mind. Their armor-piercing strikes couldn't penetrate my neck scales. The raid went smoother than I expected. Crack, several thick vines lashed at me. A wood mage from the slave-catching band had attacked. I tracked a lanky man by his mana fluctuations and was about to rush him when the air near the wood mage rippled and a slicing sound rang out. 3 lethal palm marks appeared on the wood mage's neck. Lados shouldn't have died. There's an ambusher who killed the key man. Don't be afraid. He's only a juvenile black dragon. With so many warriors, we can defeat him. Today, we'll become legend. Think of us as dragon slayers, Lados shouted. The other warriors snapped out of the chaos. Yes, this black dragon isn't large. We can kill him and become dragon slayers. Just as all the warriors surged forward, Lados hurled his great axe at me. Then he ran without looking back. Ridiculous, this is clearly a mutated black dragon. How could his strength possibly beat it? Hopefully those warriors can buy some time. I watched the fleeing man, a bit speechless, so fiery and passionate. I thought he was another mercenary captain, a higher level figure. The leader ran, he abandoned us. I dropped from the sky to the ground. As the warriors rallied their courage and attacked again, countless earthen spikes erupted once more. These warriors lacked Lados' reflexes and strength and were pierced amid screams. Soon, there were no living beings left at the scene except the half-orcs in the cages and Winnie. I looked toward the direction Lados fled, glanced at Winnie, and took off in pursuit. I couldn't let that guy get away. He'd surely spell trouble. Winnie used a key she found on a corpse to open the iron cages one by one. A rabbit-eared girl ran over on long legs, tears streaming from her eyes as she hugged Winnie. Sister Winnie, you've suffered. Sister Winnie, let's get out of here, they urged. The escaped half-orcs, still shaken, clustered around Winnie. Bang, a body was tossed to the ground, the very warrior who had fled, Lados. I flapped my wings and landed, taking a few steps forward. There are so many beautiful beast girls here, especially that rabbit girl. She's an absolute knockout. The black dragon's back. A commotion broke out and everyone's nerves instantly tightened. The memory of the dragon's slaughter was engraved in their minds. "My lord, please don't be offended." Winnie first bowed to me. I casually waved a claw. I still feel a large measure of tolerance toward these beast girls. "Listen to me. This is my lord, a very powerful true dragon. I've decided to serve him. If anyone refuses to follow me, I can give her some goods so she can leave the Rose tribe. You all should understand our tribe's situation now. Without a strong protector, we face annihilation in this forest at any time," Winnie said solemnly. "She's right, we have no choice. Relying on a strong one is best," said a gray-eared female orc who stepped forward. I studied her and realized she was a young wolf girl. "I too am willing to follow Sister Winnie forever," Misha said, curious, and stepped forward. I nodded inwardly. Winnie clearly has high prestige here. "Wait, Saddle will send people soon. You can lead your kin to temporarily live in Sunset Forest. Now tell me the location of that meteor." "My lord, that place is complicated. Should I lead you there?" Winnie hesitated. Before I could answer, the rabbit girl stood up. "Sister Winnie, let me take our lord there. We need Misha now. It's dangerous there. Don't forget I'm the tribe's best healer. I'll protect myself. Besides, with the Black Dragon Lord with me, nothing will happen." Misha gave me a sweet smile and her rabbit ears twitched. "Winnie, you return to your tribe first." In the end, I chose to take the rabbit girl Misha with me. The deeper I flew toward the meteor site, the more desolate it became. It had been beautiful here. Misha looked down from the sky, saddened by the sight. I suddenly stopped, sharply sensing that something was wrong, like a kind of radiation. Everything around seemed to have lost life. I grabbed a bird's nest from the ground with my claws. I possess a powerful earth magic talent, but in my perception the earth element in the soil was abnormally scarce, almost none. The foundation and structure of this land have been completely destroyed. What could have done this? "Misha, wait here for me, or you can return first. I feel it's not very safe inside." "My lord," Misha has something to say. "Go back quickly, and be careful on the way," I said, then took off and left Misha behind. Misha stared after my silhouette, a bit dazed. Legends can't be trusted. Black dragons are actually pretty decent. After leaving Misha, I flew deeper alone and finally reached a huge meteor crater. When I saw what was inside, I widened my eyes instantly. How is this possible? Winnie led the others to a patch of blackened trees. She took out something like a whistle and blew a pattern on it. Soon, faint rustling sounds arose and some half-savage people and wandering half-orcs came running out. "Sister Winnie is here." After hearing Winnie's words, some half-orcs sighed. Winnie is a black dragon, the most cunning and treacherous of the chromatic dragons. A half-orc began to speak, but Winnie interrupted. "Since you know dragons are petty creatures, be more careful, don't touch him. Now that you've decided, we'll be the black dragon's retinue. Carry it out completely. If anyone refuses to follow, I'll give them food and coins to leave here." Seeing Winnie's stern look, the others fell silent. After all, the world respects strength. I reached the center of the crater and finally noticed something wrong. There were many beastman corpses, all dried husks without exception. At the very center of the corpses lay an egg, more precisely, a Brulong egg. This dragon egg was the radiating Brulong. As a member of the metal drake line, over 80% of its composition was non-standard elements in its phosphorus, potassium makeup. Therefore, Brulong unintentionally emits lethal nuclear radiation all over its body, like a gigantic walking nuclear reactor. Land Brulong passes over will remain barren for 3 years due to intense radiation. Those humans or creatures who encounter it will develop cancer and die within a short time. I examined this Brulong egg carefully. Unfortunately, it's a dead egg. Even a stillborn makes me nervous. After all, these things are born strong. On the eggshell, there was a hole the thickness of a human pinky. Piercing the egg through it, I could sense the dead fetus inside. For the whole egg, that wound is small but lethal. This is odd, I was puzzled. Normally this dragon species would be born among the metal drakes and spend its juvenile years there. The reason this place became like this is that the unhatched Brulong fell, and some of its bodily fluids seeped out through that small hole. The reason so many beasts swarmed here was their instinctual drive. After all, dragons mean power. True dragon blood and the like can trigger evolutionary advances in most beastmen, let alone Brulong remnants. Yet no beast could survive long enough to reach the egg. Luckily, it was an unhatched Brulong. If it had been an adult, a single drop of its blood falling here would let alone this small patch of land. The entire Sunset Forest would be shrouded in radiation and rendered barren. Although this Brulong egg is dead, it still holds great value. In the hands of some alchemists, it could be refined into an incredibly powerful catalyst. I thought for a moment and decided to use it as food after I activated the feast later. Swallowing the Brulong egg whole would be the dumbest decision. Even with my current body, I'd die if I did. With that in mind, I began to use earth magic. Under my control, the surrounding soil and stones slowly wrapped the egg. The soil and stones carried some of the Brulong egg's substances. I planned to eat those earth and rocks together. I had a feeling that if this succeeded, I'd undergo a huge transformation. After doing this, I spread my wings and temporarily left. I realized that staying here too long had affected my bodily functions. "Master actually saved you?" In the Rose tribe, Sato looked at the ruined beast people in front of him in puzzlement. He'd expected them to be formidable, but they were just old, weak, and sickly. "Saddle, don't forget your task." Winnie ignored Saddle's taunt. "At the Rose tribe's peak we weren't afraid of these forest brutes, now they're gloating. Haha. Of course I know my task, find the magic iron ore and sell it. Vix has already located it, Saddle said, pointing to the goblin leader beside him. At that moment, my massive form descended from the sky. What's going on? I looked at those present and casually set Misha down on the ground. My lord, we found a magic iron ore vein. Saddle hurried forward. How large are the reserves? I asked, looking at Vix. Great true dragon majesty, the reserves are astonishing, at least richer than the topaz vein. Vix said humbly. Excellent, this should feed us for a long time. Winnie, I found the cause of the changes around your territory. Saddle, have people begin mining the magic iron ore immediately, as ordered, Saddle said, patting his chest. Winnie, take your people to Sunset Forest to find housing. Let Saddle assist you. From now on, I need to find a place to go into hibernation. Attend to your own affairs. Saddal, where are the things I told you to bring? My lord, here they are. Saddle produced a magical device. The spatial ring obtained when I killed that prince. I sank my spirit into it and saw it filled to the brim with topaz ore. Satisfied, I nodded, then shot up into the sky. I'm going to Brulong to start the feast. Now I had finally reached the place where I found Brulong before. I couldn't wait and activated the feast. The familiar hunger came. The Brulong before me was instantly suffused with aroma. I didn't hesitate and began to devour it. The shell and the surrounding soil were eaten bite by bite. After finishing the Brulong egg, I ate some ore as well, and only then did the feast end. A mass of golden energy slowly poured into my heart, and next to the heart, a new organ gradually took shape. The transformation was quite slow. I felt that all previous modifications combined hadn't equaled this one. Meanwhile, in the Saranya kingdom, in the Volton family, a burly blonde elder stared at a map. He was Victor, the current head of the Volton house. Our family's slave-catching band has been missing for several days with no news. Them being dead is one thing, but that Latos fellow said he found a large magic iron vein. If true, this would be momentous for our entire house. If there's that much magic iron ore, our family's army can expand and bury that rotten royal house. Taram, you personally lead a team to inspect it. This is crucial to our family, Victor said coldly. It was 10 odd days after Taram set out. On a flat stretch of ground, a fearsome black dragon burst forth. That was me after my transformation. I checked my status panel. The cooldown this time was a full 30 days, and the only new talent was an atomic blast furnace. I felt a constant surge of energy spewing from the atomic blast furnace. My body seemed filled with power and eager to vent. Energy began to accumulate in my mouth. Then whoosh, a huge white jet blasted out. The ground melted, forming a pit about 10 meters deep. I froze. This blast was so much like some famous monster from my past life. With this atomic blast furnace, I'm basically a winged Godzilla. I also discovered I could absorb some kind of surrounding substance. With a thought, the nearby radioactive energy all began pouring into my body. I found that after transformation and synthesis by the atomic blast furnace, these materials were stored in a stimulant sputter organ in my body, ready to erupt when needed. After spending some time absorbing the remaining radioactive matter in the area, I left. The Rose tribe's old camp had been converted into a storage site for magic iron ore. All mined ore would be temporarily placed here before being transported to the containment tribe. Thanks to the efforts of the workers and goblins, the mining process had finally come together. When I returned to the Rose tribe, I saw everyone bustling with activity, hauling ore. I walked to a cart and loaded several hundred pounds of ore with a sharpening tool. Honored Lord, you're here. Your presence is as dazzling as the sun in the sky. Winnie and the others, have they starved the tribe? I picked up a chunk of ore and started gnawing on it. They really don't have many people left. At your request, they've built a settlement beside our tribe. This place needs you to garrison it long-term for now. The ore must not be lost. Don't worry, my lord, I'm absolutely reliable, Saddle said, patting his chest. After I settled everything, I left and returned to the canyon deep within the Urki tribe. When I entered the cave in the canyon, my eyes truly lit up. My lord, you're back. Winnie and Misha, who had been cleaning the cave, nimbly came before me. Not bad. Oh, Winnie, henceforth when you speak, remember to add meow at the end of every sentence. Cat girls know. Meowing feels like something's missing. Winnie was a little confused. I'm a cat girl but not a cat. Cat girls and cats are different species, okay? Why must I meow like that? Winnie impulsively added the word and felt a little embarrassed. Not bad, I'm pleased. This is the familiar cat girl, it's wonderful. By the way, can you dance? If Misha and Winnie and those half-orc girls formed a girl group and meowed for me, it'd add a lot of interesting things to dragon life. We don't really know how. Winnie managed a strained smile. He felt his future life might not be as easy as he imagined. After a while, when Winnie and the others were ready, I watched their dance intently. They performed a half-orc traditional dance that looked like a ritual, almost like a shamanic trance. I felt a bit disappointed. Stop. Winnie and Misha paused and bowed to me. My lord, you don't like it? Winnie wiped sweat from his brow. Misha's rabbit ears drooped. Winnie, you can sway your hips like this, then throw in some hand gestures. I began to coach the two of them. Outside the Rose tribe, a small squad of lightly armored swordsmen watched the area. Captain Walker, this used to be a half-orc tribe, so why are there so many forest trolls and not a single half-orc visible? It means the half-orc tribe was wiped out. Forest trolls like to devour the corpses of their foes, Captain Walker guessed. Our orders are to investigate the missing slave-catching band and the magic iron vein. Go check the ore vein first. Walker ordered. They were the Volton family's most loyal warriors, so assigned this special mission. Lord Taram had emphasized, everything is subordinate to the vein. A convoy transporting ore had just arrived at the Rose Tribe, perfectly missing Walker's party. Open up, hurry, this ore needs to be delivered quickly, Vix, the tribe leader, said as he looked at the ore below. Shouting, he felt he'd reached the pinnacle of his life. The forest trolls who once treated him as slave and food now showed him extraordinary respect. He no longer had to worry about being eaten for offending someone. This was all thanks to the great black dragon majesty. Wild smelting magic iron ore is extremely difficult. It requires a special furnace plus a plant powder to successfully produce qualifying magic iron. Fortunately, when Vix had been enslaved in the human world, he was forced to learn some advanced smelting techniques. He planned to experiment here first, then present the refined magic iron to the great black dragon majesty. After watching the dance in the cave for a while, I contentedly let Misha and the others rest. Although for some reasons the two couldn't fully let go and the dance differed somewhat from that of my past life, it was still pleasing to watch. Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything. In body size, I was now a standard young dragon, indeed far stronger than a typical young dragon. But alas, I still couldn't use polymorph. After watching the dance in the cave for a while, I contentedly sent Misha and the others off to train. Although for some reasons, the two couldn't fully let go, and the dance differed somewhat from that of my past life, it was still pleasing to watch. Unfortunately, I couldn't do anything. In body size, I was now a standard young dragon, indeed far stronger than a typical young dragon. But try as I might, I still couldn't use polymorph. My lord, the chieftain Vix has arrived. Misha walked in slowly. The chieftain Vix? Let him in, he's a high-caliber talent I have my eye on. After a short while, Vix entered, trembling. Great Black Dragon Majesty, your humble servant offers this gift, Vix said, kneeling humbly and raising the box high. Misha leaned over, took the wooden box, and brought it to me. Opening it revealed pieces of metal that shimmered with a blue light on their surface. These iron chunks are the refined membrane material, Vix explained. Not bad, I don't know much about smelting, but the quality looked quite good. From now on, mining and smelting of magic iron ore are entirely your responsibility. I have only one demand. Output whether ore or wild smelted magic iron. At once. Vix cried, overjoyed, then left step by step, humble. Misha, these refined irons are for you, making 2 short swords should be enough. Thank you, my lord. Misha hopped about with joy. Unfortunately, there was no master smith, so they could only grind by magic themselves. Misha stared at the magic iron in hand. What about Captain Walker? The world-renowned magic iron vein is being mined by those people. Walker and his men looked sullenly at the workers and goblins steadily extracting ore. Let's return and report to Lord Taram. With just these forest trolls guarding it, we can't deal with them, Walker decided. Under the cover of the trees, the men slipped away and hurried forward. A few hours later, at a camp, they encountered Taram. Lord Taram, the slave-catching band has been wiped out, and the magic iron vein is occupied by forest trolls. Walker relayed all the intelligence he had gathered, meaning the reports about the vein were accurate. Yes, Lord Taram, the vein's reserves are very abundant, Walker said. The forest trolls' strength shouldn't be this great. Lord Taram, shall we send a probe to test their strength? Walker proposed. No need, Taram said, eyes as fierce as a wolf. The Volton family must have this vein. Whatever hidden methods the forest trolls possess, we will take it. But with only a little over 100 of us, Walker hesitated. Taram glanced at him. I understand. Regardless of the trolls' power, our current manpower is indeed insufficient to deal with them. I'll have the family send reinforcements more than the family guard. The brutal Holy Shield will also intervene. At the mention of the brutal Holy Shield, Walker's expression grew grave. He hadn't expected the family to take it so seriously. Walker knew what the brutal Holy Shield was, a group of monsters. Taram wrote a letter and handed it to Walker. Carry this to the family head. At once, Walker saluted and departed the magic iron vein. The Volton family will have it, Taram said, eyes fixed on the distance. I was studying a parchment map, an important asset of the tribe. In this age, maps were crucial. I found the location of the bone marsh on it. I remembered flying northward at the time. Did my sense of direction fail, or how else did I end up here? Still, this place was acceptable, situated between several countries and suitable for short-term development. I also have an idea, using the magic iron ore to play the major powers off one another, so I can obtain more of the ingredients I need. Meanwhile, tensions outside the Rose tribe were surging. Over 300 warriors had gathered. Most striking were 6 massive figures standing at the front, utterly different from the other fighters. Each bore a huge sword on their back. They were the Volton family's most feared, the brutal Victory. Uncle Taram, these are all the reinforcements the family sent, a young knight said. Aides, thank you for your hard work. With this force, even if the forest trolls were 10 times stronger, they wouldn't stand a chance, Taram replied dutifully. Move out. Under Taram's orders, the army slithered forward like venomous snakes toward the Rose tribe. Aegis, take some men to secure the magic iron vein first. I'll lead the brutal Holy Shield and the rest to wipe out those damned forest trolls. Taram assigned tasks along the way. Don't worry, Uncle Taram, Aegis said, patting his chest. Walker, who knew the situation best, would lead Aegis to the magic iron vein, Taram told Walker behind him. As you command, Lord Taram, Walker saluted. Once we seize this vein and endure a little longer, the Voltan family will reach its most glorious moment, Taram said fervently over the next few hours. The battle atop the magic iron vein had already ended. There was no suspense. The site lay close to the half-orc tribe, so Sadal hadn't posted many guards. What about those goblins and gnolls over there? A soldier asked, looking at them in the distance. Aegis glanced casually. We'll still need miners to extract the ore, leave those county miners for now. Where did those two go? Aegis asked, a little irritated. Lord Aegis, the Andra brothers went to chase a half-orc. A half-orc? Aegis was puzzled. The half-orc girl appeared to be a wolf woman, so they couldn't resist. Seeing his men hemming and hawing, Aegis knew exactly what had happened. Half-orc women were highly valued, and the two likely hoped to make extra profit. Damn it, his anger wasn't that they chased a half-orc, but that these men dared disobey his orders. A petite figure ran swiftly through the forest. Her only hope was to reach the Urchi tribe quickly and warn the black dragon. Suddenly, 3 archers' arrows whizzed past the little wolf girl Laura. Laura looked back to see 2 armored warriors surrounding her. Heh heh, I told you just a little wolf girl, they said, grinning. They'd seen her try to flee but kept quiet and followed, hoping to profit alone. Boss, can I have some fun first? One lecherous soldier asked. You can't play with her, another said. Only if she's intact will the noble lords pay top price. I'll make sure she's intact. Hurry up then, the leader impatiently waved. Little one, just surrender. As the third man reached out to grab the wolf girl's hair, the leader beside him had barely finished speaking when the others suddenly grabbed Shatter. Big trouble, human troops are coming this way. 2 lookouts were killed. Rally all your people, I'll make those damn bastards pay, Shatter snarled, brandishing his giant bone club. Meanwhile, the little wolf girl still faced off with the Andra brothers' leader. You filthy bastard, how dare you kill my only brother? As he charged, he suddenly felt a chill at his neck, and a bright silhouette slowly appeared in the air. The wolf girl cried out happily, Sister Winnie. At the mine, dozens of forest trolls surged out of the half-orc tribe. Taram watched the disorderly horde of forest trolls and smiled. He felt the brutal holy shield wouldn't need to intervene, his elite forces could annihilate them. Why did humans invade the forest trolls' territory? Sadal didn't angrily charge forward. I'll give you a chance to live, sign a vassal pact with the Voltan family, Taram said slowly. What? Sadal stared at Taram as if he were an idiot. Ha ha ha, creatures like you dare call yourselves our masters? Sadal mocked. If you won't know gratitude, then die. Countless sword wielders surged toward Sadal and the others. Kill them for me, Sadal roared. The sound of blades entering flesh kept coming. The forest trolls charging at the front were instantly shot into porcupines. But they did not fall. Leading the charge were the strongest warriors of the Fangtooth tribe. Their tactic was to have the strongest hold the line. Taram planned to capture the ringleader first and sent the brutal holy shield to flank Sadal. A roughly 3-meter-tall behemoth barreled straight at Sadal. Sadal had just cut down a soldier and hadn't had time to catch his breath when he sensed a fierce danger. Instinctively, he held his monstrous bone club across his chest. 2 brutal holy shields swung their great swords down at Sadal. The bone club snapped in 2 at once. Then each of them landed a punch on Sadal's chest. A mouthful of blood sprayed from Sadal's mouth. Taram ordered from afar. Stop. The 2 brutal holy shields halted their attack on the forest trolls. I'll give you one last chance. Sign a master, vassal contract and I'll spare you and your people. You should see the gap between us isn't small. Taram looked at Sadal with curiosity. It was rare for a creature to take a blow from 2 brutal holy shields and not die. Sadal was unusual. Suddenly, everyone on site felt a suffocating pressure. Taram looked up, but before he could react, a universal roar ripped through the air, followed by countless acidic sprays. Soldiers' armor and flesh were corroded by the acid, and a scene of slaughter erupted. Only then did Taram realize they were being attacked by a black dragon. The brutal holy shield moved to intercept the dragon's assault. 6 brutal holy shields drew their greatswords and stood at the front to steady the formation. Taram produced a massive mother car from his magi device. The over 3-meter vessel was dark red and marked with mysterious runes, signifying it was Fulrim's. I stared coldly at them and dove again, intending to use my breath to open a gap for Sadal and the others. Suddenly, I unleashed huge fireballs and ice spires, among other long element attacks along the way. I dodged the ice spires and some long spikes with a sidestep, then tanked the remaining fireball spells head-on. The distant casters cheered after all. They were level 6 spellcasters. Getting hit by such an attack would be nasty. But when the flames faded, my intact figure stood where I had been. Impossible, this black dragon wasn't even wounded. Its scales remained unscathed. At that moment, archers on the ground loosed their arrows. One archer hidden among the others struck my right wing. Looking toward the human army, I saw a man staring at me coldly. Beside him stood a siege engine clearly responsible for the shot. With my right wing hit, my flight was inevitably affected, though not completely grounded. If you want me to fight you on the ground, so be it, hold them for me, Taram shouted as the black dragon charged at him. The dragon actually dared to engage them. Taram seemed to see victory on the horizon. With a thunderous crash, I fell into the ranks like a meteor. One of the 6 brutal holy shields was directly beneath me. In an instant, that shielded warrior split open like a can of tomatoes. But the other 5 brutal holy shields showed no fear. They raised their greatswords and chopped at me. Truly glorious, Lord, their might is incomparable. Sadal struggled to stand. At the black dragon's roar, he knew I had arrived. "Everyone, follow our lord and slay the enemy." Saddle grabbed up a long blade and shouted, "Lord Saddle orders you to withdraw." Winnie's silhouette appeared beside his words, in front of Saddle and his few. "What? This is the master's command, will you defy it?" Winnie said to Saddle. Saddle turned, seeing only about 30 forest trolls behind him. He clenched his fist hard. "Let's go," he ground out. Seeing countless dead and wounded soldiers and the barely breathing brutal holy shield, Taram's eyes flashed red. He crushed a red gem in his hand and whispered, "Berserk Protocol." At the same time, the 5 brutal holy shields below began to change. I watched the 5 go berserk, the soldiers swarming nearby, and Taram eyeing us hungrily from not far off, and I took flight. As a few brutal holy shields tried to stop me, I let out a roar of pure fury. Instantly, everyone on the battlefield felt their blood run cold. I took the chance to fly up. Since Saddle and the others had already withdrawn, and those berserk ones were unstable, their rage form was clearly timed. To be safe, I decided to wait until their transformation ended before finishing them off. Taram panicked and shouted to stop me. Several brutal holy shields grabbed spears from the ground and hurled them like javelins. But I had expected that move. I dodged a few spears casually, bit down on one with my jaws and chomped it up. Still, those guys really were strong. I was already 300 meters up. The spears were both accurate and deadly. Damn, Taram could only watch as this monstrous black dragon departed with swagger. With the casualty count tallied, Taram irritably asked his adjutant, "Lord Taram, we lost 98 warriors, 37 seriously wounded, and 72 lightly wounded. This loss is huge. These were elite troops, each trained at great cost. Most importantly, the brutal holy shields. We lost 6 of them." Taram looked down at the 5 remaining brutal holy shields. Their auras were slowly fading. Suddenly, Taram thought of something and hurriedly said, "Quick, send someone to check on Agus." On a cliff, I hovered there beside Winnie as she reported the intelligence she'd just gathered. "Master, there's no movement at the mine. They've already occupied it, controlling the gnolls and forcing them to extract ore. Heh, these people are arrogant. They're mining as if it's their home. Winnie, I'll go to the mine now and wipe out their 1,000-strong force. Watch this army in front of us. If they send anyone to call for reinforcements, kill the messenger or the flying beast delivering the message." "As you command," Winnie said obediently, then vanished into thin air. "Then go deal with those at the mine first." I left like a shadow blotting out the sun. At the magic iron vein, Agus was chatting with several of his captains. "Haha, thanks for helping me take this mine. When we return to the family, I'll reward you all," Agus said with a smile. "Thank you, Lord," the others replied happily. Suddenly, one soldier looked up at the sky. Before he could call out, a powerful white blast burned him to ashes. The nearby soldiers had no time. Some scrambled to defend and prepare to counterattack. Agus shouted loudly, "Oh, it's a black dragon. We're under attack by an adult black dragon." Agus felt like he was dreaming. Only one thought filled his mind. Why was an adult black dragon here? The moment Doug heard the dragon's roar, he knew his chance had come. He seized the opportunity, leapt forward, bit a guard's throat and ended his life, snatching the guard's sword. "The great true dragon is here, everyone. Cut through and follow me." It's hard to imagine those lowly gnolls looking so ferocious. They surged out of the mine in a roaring tide, slaughtering the panicked human soldiers. "Lord Agus, run." Walker ran to Agus in panic. The black dragon in the distance was unstoppable. He tried throwing 2 spears but couldn't pierce the dragon's scales. How could this be? Agus hadn't reacted yet. "Lord Agus, humanoids and gnolls are charging at us." A soldier staggered over. These lowly bastards actually dared. Agus nearly lost his breath. Walker, seeing the danger, tried to flee, but a goblin hurled a stone. Walker collapsed, lifeless. Agus was stunned. Walker was done for. Only then did he notice there wasn't a single soldier left by his side. A massive shadow then loomed over Agus. I looked down at the human before me and knew this one must be their leader. Agus drew a deep breath, forcing himself not to tremble. "Honored Black Dragon, I am Agus of the Volton family. Pleased to meet you. Humans dare to trespass my domain," he said coldly in the common tongue. "Your Excellency, Black Dragon, this is a misunderstanding. Had we known this was your territory, we would never have invaded." Agus added with forced righteousness. "Damn Walker, how did he misreport this?" Agus wondered. If the family had known a black dragon lived here, they'd have prepared more dragon-slaying weapons, more brutal holy shields, and more infantry. The Volton family? Never heard of them. I couldn't be bothered to ask. Further, did he think he was some great villain, tossing out family names? "I'm already a dragon. Spare me the formalities." I squeezed out a few drops of acid that instantly corroded Agus's feet. Agus's feet were ruined. He let out a piercing scream. He'd never suffered such severe injuries since childhood and began to crack under the shock. "Doug is yours. Interrogate him and get anything of value. His fate is up to you," Taram said, looking at the nearby gnoll, Dog. "I noticed this one fought especially brutally good material. I'll train him." Dog hastily knelt and said, "As you command, great black dragon majesty." "And the one on the ground playing dead, bring him back for questioning too." I glanced at Walker on the ground. All the gnolls and goblins turned to look at Walker lying there. "Is he really dead?" I extended a claw and swept across Walker's feet. Walker sprang up, dagger aimed at my eye, but my claw was faster and slashed his feet. Walker let out a muffled groan and collapsed, silent. Compared to Agus, he was much sturdier. only puzzled that his famed death trick had been seen through. Aegis was even angrier at the deception. "Damn playing dead, bold move," I remarked. With that, all invading humans at the magic iron vein were annihilated. After issuing all orders, I told Doug and the others to speed up extraction for safety's sake. Now I had to deal with those other fools. In a stretch of forest, Taram walked in silence with the army following behind. "Any news from the messengers we sent?" Taram asked his adjutant. "No. I've sent 3 waves of messengers, each vanished without a trace. No word from Lord Agus either." Suddenly, the sky was shadowed by a massive silhouette again, followed by a white heat ray that blasted the formation to pieces. "It's that black dragon, it's back. Ready the formation, defend." Taram screamed hoarsely, but I exhaled, killed some 40 or 50 soldiers, then flew off. Taram exhaled in relief. "Lord Taram, its intent is clear. It wants to grind us down here," the adjutant said anxiously after checking the dead and wounded. Taram clenched his fists. He knew it too, but what could he do? After I sprayed the area again, I flew to a rocky beach, the rendezvous point with Winnie. Soon Winnie, reeking of blood, materialized from the air. She had some wounds. Only capable messengers get sent at times like this. "They sent 3 waves of messengers. I slaughtered 6 of them," she reported. "Good, well done," I praised. "Sadal and the others are nearby too." Winnie touched her cat ear, realizing she'd forgotten something. "Sadal, didn't I order them to withdraw to the Shame tribe? They wanted to offer some token service to you. Have them clean up the battlefield later and seal the surrounding woods. I don't want a single human soldier to leave here alive." "As you command, my lord. I won't let any human soldier escape. I will notify Sadal now." Winnie bowed once, then vanished into the air. I yawned and took to the sky. Time to send these bastards on their way. Taram had a bad feeling today. His instincts were often accurate. "Issue orders, heightened vigilance," he commanded. A thunderous roar came from the sky. All alert, prepared to defend. It was the black dragon again. This time, some soldiers ignored orders and scattered. Taram watched the black dragon slaughter his men from above and said firmly, "I am Taram, I will not lose." He pulled a red potion from his magi device and drank it. A crimson light flashed in Taram's eyes. All for the Voltan family. As the potion took effect, his bloodline began to change. "Lord Taram," the adjutant cried in horror at Taram's transformation. Taram grabbed his adjutant. "Take the remaining troops and withdraw, get out what you can," he said, then hurled him away with a deft throw. The adjutant gritted his teeth and glanced at Taram and the distant black dragon. The adjutant led a few soldiers into the depths of the forest. After doing all this, Taram stared at me like a madman. "I'll tear you apart," he raged. My eyes narrowed slightly. In the legacy memories of true dragons, Majiwing happened to have such a record. I recognized him. Yes, the one before me was Majiwing, the descendant of demons. "Die." Taram said nothing and charged straight at me. I unleashed a deafening roar at the rushing Taram, focusing a wild scream entirely on him. Immediately, Taram felt the demonic energy inside him surge and churn. The skills he had been charging on his body were interrupted and vanished. His ears seemed deafened. A dragon tail whipped at him like lightning, and Taram's body slammed hard into the nearby thicket. I gave Taram little time to react. The atomic furnace in me fired up and a blue-white beam struck Taram directly. I sprayed for a full 10 seconds before stopping. The surrounding trees and undergrowth were charred black. When the smoke cleared, Taram's miserable form appeared unsurprisingly. He hadn't been reduced to ash. "What kind of monster are you?" Taram said. He no longer seemed to consider me a black dragon. "Look at you, that's the monster," I said, studying him with interest. Under my gaze, Taram's wounds healed rapidly. Even severed limbs were regenerating. "Try me again," he said. Watching him stand there, I spread my wings and charged. The brief fight earlier gave me great confidence. This guy's power seemed only so-so. I withheld my breath attack this time. The heat beam I'd used before was too intense and needed a cooldown. Taram let out a furious battle cry. He welcomed close combat. He sprinted, sidestepped, and aimed to strike my belly, trying a sliding tackle to take me out. Cracking draconic magic erupted. Countless earthen spikes shot up around Taram, and he felt his body grow extraordinarily heavy as his speed was suddenly reduced. It was a breath-fused spell. Taram's pupils narrowed. How could there be fireball magic? Immediately, I began to cast fireballs at full force. To Taram's horrified eyes, over 10 huge fireballs screamed toward him, followed by violent explosions. When the flames died down, only a head remained of Taram. His bloodshot eyes stared at me. "Can you still self-heal? Now we'll fight at close range," Taram said calmly as he looked me over. Even with only a head, he hadn't completely died. Demonic vitality was stubborn, but he was close to death. "You still retain so much strength. My loss isn't undeserved." Taram smiled bitterly. This dragon seemed overly cautious, basically cowardly. He could have torn me apart with brute strength, yet resorted to trickery. "Is your whole family into demonic arts?" I asked curiously. "Our Voltan family possesses much knowledge. The demonic bloodlines we awaken differ among us. That's all I will say," Taram replied slowly. I understood his meaning. This was all I could learn about the Voltan family. "I understand and admire you. Anything else to say?" "Dying for the Voltan family has always been my destiny. Please free me," Taram begged, wanting to see everything before he died. "As you wish, warrior." At that moment, Saddle stormed over with several trolls, and Winnie also materialized from the air. "My lord, your subordinate is late," The 37 humans who fled have all been eliminated. Good. Now, clean the battlefield, take useful armor and weapons. The rest isn't important, I instructed. As you command, Sadal patted his chest with a grimace. My lord, should we continue mining the magic iron vein? Winnie sensed something from me, some unspoken concern. Not for now. Seal the mine with the goblins and gnolls, head to the Sunset Forest and start extracting the topaz vein. Since they could locate that vein precisely, it's clear the magic iron deposits are being watched. This place is contested. After a few more feasts, no matter how powerful the Volton family is, they'll kneel and sing conquest. Too bad the main ingredients are hard to find. I briefly regretted burning Tarim to nothing. Demonic ingredients would be potent. He held high status. His magi device should contain good stuff. I hurried to where Tarim had died to search. At that moment in the Volton family manor, Victor gazed at a statue and sighed. Tarim was dead, can you feel it? Strangely, only Victor, the family head, remained in the room. A slightly mocking voice came from the darkness. If he's dead, he died as he should. Don't tell me you'll be sad about this. Tarim was different. He was the Volton family's finest. 10 or 100 aides couldn't compare to one Tarim. Victor's eyes flashed with murderous intent. You should know he owes his position to you. Family honor? I never expected you'd be able to brainwash someone with such strong bloodline magic like this. Human emotions are strange, you'll never understand. Victor turned and walked away. If you keep that mindset, I guarantee that even if you succeed in converting them, you'll be picked clean to nothing. After he finished, silence fell from the darkness. Recto paused, then left. Tarim, my brother, I won't let you die in vain. Black Dragon, I'll remember you. This time I won't just take the magic iron vein, I will kill that black dragon and forge its body into a necro-dragon palace. Damn it, I couldn't find the magi device after searching. I'm a bit disappointed. Looks like I really lost it myself. I'll be more careful next time. After all, killing without taking the spoils is no different from not killing. I'll check the vein now. My lord, this is magi energy I took from that adjutant after I killed him. Winnie pulled a ring from her waist, cupped it in both hands and handed it to me. I stared at the ring, my eyes lit up. I probed it with magic to inspect its contents. About 1,000 gold coins, various jars and bottles in a jumble, some armor and greatswords. These looked like the gear from those brutal Holy Shield units. This didn't look like the wealth and goods an adjutant would possess. Could this actually be Tarim's magi device? No wonder he tossed that adjutant. Still, there didn't seem to be anything particularly special. Who knows what those jars and bottles are for? Wait, someone might know. Didn't we capture a young master, Aegis of the Volton family? Have him identify these and ask for intelligence. Deciding that, I flew up and looked down at the ground below. Per my earlier orders, everyone at the Magic Iron Vein is to return to the Urki tribe and take all the ore extracted during this time away. Leave only a few guards behind. As you command, my lord. Winnie and Sadal packed their belongings. I glanced at them, spread my wings, and flew off. We must handle this mine carefully from now on. I won't give up easily, unless absolutely necessary. A few days later, in the Urki tribe, Bog reported the interrogation results to me. The noble young master Aegis's bones weren't as hard as I thought. He spilled everything. The Volton family really isn't simple. Their strength is far beyond an ordinary ducal house. They may even be preparing to overthrow the royal family and rule themselves. The rest were techniques for breeding those brutal holy shields and such, but the potions are personally concocted by the ancestor and ordinary clan members can't access them. At that moment, the elder Vix entered with a grave expression. My lord, there's a problem at the Bopus vein. What happened? I opened my eyes and scrutinized Vix. While digging downward, we were attacked by unknown magical beasts. They prevented us from mining further below. The unknown beasts are some kind of insect creatures, swarming in numbers. Many miners and my clansmen who went down were driven off, but my men killed a small dragon. Its corpse is outside. Vix continued. Bring it in. I was curious what kind of beasts dared steal from our mine. Doug stood and went outside, dragging in a roughly 2-meter-long insect. The corpse was a riftworm, a powerful carnivorous insect capable of biting through trees and even stone, so they're expert tunnelers. I found it strange. Riftworms are predators. They don't eat stone. Why were they here? Where there's abnormality, there's a demon. Misha, go find Saddle and ask if his wounds are healed. If so, accompany me to the Topaz mine. I turned to the rabbit girl Misha. As you command, my lord. Misha hopped away. Soon, Saddle stormed in. My lord, the troops have returned. Looks like you're recovering well. I nodded at Saddle's tone. Don't worry, my lord, our forest trolls have strong regenerative powers. Saddle chuckled. Take some warriors to Topaz, have the miners temporarily stop mining the chamber. I'll be there shortly. As you command, master. Saddle patted his chest and left. I soon flew near the Topaz vein. It was my second time at the Topaz mine. My lord, this is the mining islet. These riftworms seem to have dug many tunnels under the surface. The passages are maze-like and easy to get lost in. Saddle hurriedly reported. And they don't seem to want to fight us, just drive us away. Doug suddenly added. Send those centaurs and gnolls down to probe again, he suggested, which reminded me of that previous herd of bovid fighters. Centaurs and gnolls, loyal servants make perfect cannon fodder. My lord. Winnie hurried to my side, and Misha looked a little excited. Winnie, you must know your position. I shot them a glance. Winnie suddenly remembered something and hesitated. My lord, I've studied riftworms before. I should know something about their current behavior. This installment will cut the dull plot and speed up the main story so you can meet the dragon girl sooner. To prevent riftworm interference from affecting ore extraction, I entered the mine, slew the riftworms, and over the next few days gathered abundant resources and triggered a feast. This time, the riftworm was the main course, with topaz as the staple. Nearby, goldstones served as seasoning, and my feast advanced to level 9. HP increased by 35, and I gained a new talent, vibrational sensing. Then I began researching polymorph. After many trials, I could finally force cast it. But polymorph consumed too much mana, so I could only maintain it for about an hour and only at around 30% strength. I thought a moment and reverted to dragon form. I'll test stability later. A few days later, Victor, head of the Volton family, to ensure the Black One's death, reluctantly struck a bargain with a shadow, actually a demon from the abyss, the most deceptive kind. He changed into a troll and infiltrated my territory to scout. When I saw him, I felt something was off. I let out a wild scream and, as expected, he revealed his true form. The mimic demon was caught by my surprise attack and was torn down to half its body. It decisively used teleportation to escape an instantaneous teleport spell, so I chose not to pursue. The surviving mimic demon didn't tell Victor the truth, which bolstered Victor's confidence for the Black Dragon assault. But to be safe, Victor followed the mimic's suggestion. He paid a great price to summon an abyssal horn fiend from the ritual circle, which then attacked alongside Victor's army. I secretly ordered everyone to retreat, staying would only hold me back, and I threw myself fully into battling the abyssal horn fiend. I activated Feast, entered true damage mode, and started gnawing the fiend like food. Although the fiend could regenerate, it couldn't withstand my devouring. When my feast reached 96, the fiend used instant teleport to flee. I glanced down, the forest trolls had all withdrawn, and Winnie was covering the last few orcish soldiers as they left. But they ran into several brutal holy shields, making escape nearly impossible. In their despair, two figures descended from the sky and took Winnie and Misha away. Winnie and Misha showed surprised looks. I ignored them, bit the two brutal holy shields in my mouth, and while flying I chewed my feast reach 100%. Sensing my body growing weaker and watching Victor on the ground, I had a bad feeling, so I did not press the advantage. Instead, I flew north and left. After flying a while, my condition worsened. At one moment, my wings suddenly froze. I plunged straight down with a splash, crashing into an unusually rapid, raging river along with two half-orcs. A few days later, I woke. My feast reached level 10, and I gained a new talent, telepathy, allowing communication with any sentient creature, regardless of language. I couldn't quite understand, did that fiend really have such a talent? It seemed so dumb. But I remembered I'd forgotten something. Where are those two big-eared beast girls I had? I hunted low over the land at speed. Those two beast girls aren't just central, they're priceless, because they were carrying all the magic iron ores and topaz sharpening tools mined during this period. I must find them. I found Winnie by a distant riverbank, and on the way searching for Misha, I ran into the azure dragon serpent famed as a dragon's nemesis. But in front of me, it was just a small carom, 2 or 3 blows, and it was dead. I searched the bamboo dragon serpent's lair thoroughly, but found no sign of Misha, only evidence that she had been here. I had already raised a big question mark over Misha's safety. 4 days later, I watched the bamboo dragon serpent trigger a feast. 2 days later, I awoke in the cave. My feast level reached 11. Fortunately, I also gained a new talent, lightning breath, which releases bioelectricity through a specialized spray organ, and the current can cause paralysis. After that, Winnie and I entered the underground world to continue the search for Misha. A few days later, I finally found her. I also recruited a desperate drow elf, Maya. By Maya's account, the nearest city is Mosoble, and this region contains many mining bays. I was very excited. It's time to take back the city and the mining veins that belong to me. As expected, I took Mosoble city easily. The ruler of Mosoble, the drow matriarch Iris, was also under my control. After signing a master-servant contract and learning more over several days, I found Mosoble wasn't as wealthy as I imagined, so I planned to attack other cities. I summoned Iris for questioning. Iris, your Mosoble is large but too poor. Any wealthier cities to recommend for me to conquer? There are others. Cities like Mosoble aren't unique. There are 9 in total, all richer than Mosoble. The closest is Charles City, but master, to attack Charles, we'd have to pass Death Gorge, and there's a Death Knight in the gorge. He's very strong. Got it, go down first. A Death Knight, interesting. But before that, let's have a feast. A feast can't be missed. I remembered back in Dragon Studies how I stole 2 Dragon Girl eggshells just to complete a feast. Now I had to plunder more things again. Ordinary monster meat no longer satisfied. Always for the feast. I'm just a busybody. Meanwhile, on a plain, Hannah, clutching a dead fish and gnawing on it, yawned. She looked at Emily and asked, when will we get to eat monster meat again? I'm sick of fish every day. What's wrong with fish? Fish is still meat, better than eating dirt, Emily replied. But chewing the fish, Hannah found it tasteless and began to miss the flavor of primal demon fish and hunting bear. If you won't eat it, give it to me. Emily, embarrassed and angry, lunged at Hannah to snatch the half fish. Hannah quickly shoveled the half fish, skin and bones, into his mouth. Emily, still upset, clawed at Hannah. Big brother must be living well, Hannah suddenly said. This time, Emily stopped teasing and spoke seriously. We watched him chased by that fire elemental, remember? Even our mother lost to the fire elemental. The Spirit Lord is our big brother and very powerful, Hannah sighed. Don't fool yourself, Hannah, his fate is obvious, and we're true dragons. We don't dwell on tearful partings. He might not be dead, maybe he was captured as a mount. He's still bitter about us stealing his eggshells. He's surely alive and not being used as a mount. Hannah stopped speaking and firmly told herself inside. To deal with the Death Knight, I decided a feast first would be more reliable. A day later, I woke and my body length had reached 16 zang, the size of the black dragon girl back then. I'd also awakened a very useful talent, Mind Chain. You can actively link with another creature. One Mind Chain lets you share that creature's sight and sound, and you can communicate through it. It's like placing an immensely powerful monitor on a subordinate, and prevents them from scheming, far more reliable than a contract. Use Mind Chain on important attendants. My lord, shall I clean your scales? Lost in thought, Misha stepped out from the side. Misha, you're a bit different today, I said, looking down at Misha and feeling a little dreamy. Then my draconic humanoid form appeared in place. My lord, what is this? Misha asked, eyes full of curiosity. This was her first time seeing me in this draconic guise. You don't really need your scales cleaned now, but you, Misha, might. I feel less oppressive in this state, and it gives me a different sensation. I reached out with a claw and gently stroked Misha's 2 rabbit ears. I'd wanted to do this for a long time. Their softness and warmth felt so nice. Misha's face flushed instantly. The rabbit ears are full of nerves and very sensitive. Immediately, she felt her body bound into an unusually pleasant restraint, and a wave of warmth washed over her. I carefully studied the aura around Misha. My lips landed on her forehead. Behind the eyes and ears she could no longer resist. I held those 2 soft flaps, greedily inhaling Misha's scent. It was exquisite. By then, Misha already knew what would happen and did not reject it. It seemed something she'd longed for. After a day of preparation, I had Iris bring me to Death Gorge. It took great effort to subdue the Death Knight. He was indeed very powerful. After that, we pushed hard all the way to Charles City. I originally thought it would be another route. Unexpectedly, the people here worshipped a Cyclopean tyrant, making the fight extremely difficult. Luckily, the Death Knight and I were a coordinated duo. Otherwise, the chance of disaster would have been high. After looting Charles City's treasures, I rushed back to the city to start my feast. A few days later, I awoke. My body length had exceeded 17 meters, and my frame felt exceptionally powerful. I also gained a Cyclopean tyrant talent, Twisting Seed. You can form a unique twisting seed within your body and then infest a chosen target. The seed triples the target's attributes. The longer it remains, the stronger the enhancement becomes, and eventually, you can distort the target's body and mind. This talent is godlike. Not only can it boost a vassal's strength, it can control their life and death. Combined with Mind Chain, a vassal before me is no different from wearing an exposed diaper. As usual, I'll use it on important retainers. After all, I'm a dragon with little sense of security. Then I left the underground world and returned to the surface. After so much development, it was time to take back my magic iron vein and enact revenge on the Voltan family. After reclaiming the magic iron vein at the Topaz mine, I found Saddle searching for me there. I also gave them a Mind Chain plus Twisting Seed package, which delighted them. After reorganizing the Fangtooth tribe, my feast cooldown had just finished. This feast increased my length to 18 meters and awakened a new talent, Void Walk. You can spend mana to teleport to nearby areas, with distance determined by mana spent, and you can use Void Walk multiple times. It seems a bit like some hero's skill, but different. My version is more like a blink. As long as I have mana, I can blink endlessly. A day later, Victor learned I had retaken the vein and grew even more ferocious. To deal with Victor, sacrificing millions of Voltan lives, he summoned Barlagrind. Barlagrind is the most powerful Tanari demon clan from the bottomless abyss. Any Barlagrind, even newly born, is a mighty legendary demon. When millions of Voltans faced doom, a pair of righteousness-seeking siblings showed up more precisely, a gold dragon and a silver dragon. I planned to wait for them to weaken each other before picking up the spoils. But I didn't expect them to be so plump. They were beaten to the ground in 2 rounds. To subdue the 2 dragons, I unleashed my full power and, by luck, also defeated Barlagrind. What I didn't expect was, the old thing exploded on death, leveling the entire Voltan city. Apart from the 2 dragons and their elven friends, I saw no living creature at the scene. This was a huge loss. To make up for the loss, I drained a tub of blood from the gold dragon and took a few slices of meat. Otherwise, the feast built around only half of Barlagrind's skull would not have been enough. A day later, my transformation completed and my body reached 20 meters. I gained a new talent, Flame Body. Your body blazes with roaring flames, granting immunity to almost all fire magic. Any enemy who engages you takes fire damage, and once accumulated to a certain level can erupt. Armor penetration is increased, and your claws and teeth deal more damage and inflict grievous wounds. Grievous wounds are excellent. They greatly reduce a demon's regeneration next time. A few days later, a human actually wanted to see me. This person was none other than Sophia, the 3rd princess of the Del Kingdom. In short, she wanted me to kill her own old father. That reminded me of that worthless prince back then, such filial types, always serving. But her offer was generous, so I agreed to kill the king. I had no intention of ruling Del personally. Openly ruling a human kingdom is like painting a target on my back. Better to let Sophia be the monarch. I only need to control her, and I can continuously siphon resources. A few days later, Sophia personally delivered a magical chest of treasures to my estate. My lord, these are the noble's treasures and some special items under protection. Put it down. Can you leave? My lord, I want safer protection. With that, Sophia removed the black cloak she had been wearing. I looked at her. Damn, my lord, I want you to be the king behind me. May I take that as you seducing me? I asked in a low voice. My lord, I want a closer relationship with you. Our bond is too fragile. Sophia sighed. Silently, I used a shapeshift spell, stepped slowly before her, reached out with a claw, took the crown from her head, smoothed Sophia's natural flame-red hair, and said, I hope you'll always be this obedient. The next day, Sophia limped away from my place. What I hadn't expected was that news of the Black Dragon killing the Del King had spread across neighboring countries and cities. The same story spread among evil creatures everywhere, slaughtering human cities, and their king made this true dragon appear monstrously powerful and the perfect object of fealty. Soon I found more and more evil beings flocking to me, not only in number but in quality. A resigned saddle walked in. My lord, 20-odd dragonkin came outside to swear fealty. Bring them in. I raised an eyelid. At first, I was excited to gain retainers, but after a while it grew tiresome, each one uglier than the last. 2 tiny black dragon heads peeked out of a pool near the Is River. Emily, why are we heading that way? Wouldn't it be safer to stay here? Hannah thought there was food and water here. Wait a few years, move, hide, and then slowly mature. That would be safest. You know nothing. There's a huge prime black dragon there, called the Calamity of Despair. If we go to him, we'll have treasures and food. But why would he want the 2 of us? Hannah was speechless. After all, such a powerful black dragon must be 1,000 years old. With surveillance and strength, how could he care for 2 little black dragons? Future great black dragon queen, Emily said jokingly, but in truth, Emily was already drafting pleas how to beg or what trick to use to be taken in. But what if they enslave us outright? Hannah blurted. After all, chromatic dragons aren't known for kindness. He didn't expect any sympathy. Emily went quiet for a moment, then looked at Hannah. I'll go first to seek him out. Wait here. Emily, I want to go with you. Hannah knew Emily planned to try to join the powerful black dragon. If enslaved, she wouldn't return, but if not, she'd come back for Hannah. Hannah understood Emily's thinking. 2 young dragons trying to survive in this dangerous world, it's hard. They'd nearly been torn to pieces by monsters more than once, and several times almost captured by humans. This place no longer seemed safe. Only sheltering under a powerful creature could give a chance to reach adulthood. Emily lunged and grabbed Hannah's head to force him to listen, but Hannah was just as strong and Emily couldn't hold him an awkward moment. Early the next morning, the 2 sneaky little black dragons set off toward their destination. At the same time, I prepared to start a feast. Tortoisen, saddle, I'm going to sleep for a while. Guard this place. Yes, my lord. Tortoisen was a companion dragonkin. Normally, such companions seek out red dragons, but there are no red dragons in this region, so Tortoisen and his group came here. At the first sight of me, all the dragonkin submitted. My appearance was more imposing than a red dragon's, and at 20 meters as a mature black dragon, I was enough to awe them. Tortoisen, due to his strength, was appointed captain of the guard. I've already planted a mine chain on them. As for the twisting seed, I haven't given it yet. After all, they haven't done anything to earn it, and I won't hand out rewards rashly. As the gate to the cave closed, the half-dragon and the forest troll exchanged a look, sneered at each other, and took their posts to stand guard at the entrance. That black dragon brother seemed to have entered his slumber. In the cave beside me, the silver dragon Algeta took human form. Watching my lair's gate close, I saw him in humanoid shape, Geraint said. Compared to my preference for moving about in my true form, Geraint and Algeta prefer human guises. Sister, we've already signed a pact with him, so don't think about running away for now. Brother, I wasn't thinking of running. I mean, he should be in a dragon sleep period now. Shouldn't we go guard his safety? A true dragon needs a secure environment at times like this, Algeta said softly. Geraint widened his eyes at his sister Algeta, worrying about that black dragon's safety seemed odd. In the cave, I didn't start the feast immediately. I pondered. I had just sensed the siblings' conversation through the mind chain. Before a feast, for safety, I always use the mind chain to monitor what each underling is thinking. Enough thinking, begin the feast. Looking at the ingredients on the ground, I opened the feast. As I fed, currents of intrigue stirred among the surrounding powers centered on Sunset Forest. In a nearby wood, several men dressed like mercenaries examined the shattered corpse of a manticore. It was indeed the work of black dragon wormlings. The aura and the wound patterns confirmed it. From the wound size, they judged the 2 black wormlings were likely less than a year old. And the fact that 2 wormlings needed an ambush to kill a feral manticore shows they're definitely weak. Wes, you were right, the scar-faced swordsman carrying a greatsword asked excitedly. John, when have my tracking methods ever failed? These are absolutely 2 black wormlings under a year old. You must understand what I sacrificed to hone my tracking. Quest, I believe in you, you've never let us down. I'll signal the others now. We must have these 2 wormlings. Meanwhile, over 20 kilometers away, Hannah and Emily, 2 small black wormlings, were heading towards Sunset Forest, weaving through the jungle. Emily, I have a bad feeling, Hannah suddenly said. As true dragons, their instincts were often accurate. Emily recalled the humans they'd stumbled upon before and felt uneasy. If those humans hadn't been so weak, how could they have escaped? Hannah, we should be close. Emily said nothing more. He'd long felt something was off. Damn humans, when I mature, I'll make them pay. In Sunset Forest, I opened my eyes in the pitch-dark cave, looked at my slightly larger body, and felt comfortable. This powerful feeling. Having strength is truly great, damn. I focused directly on Reincarnation Abyss, even neglecting mastery of wind element. This move in games is a formidable one-on-one technique, forcibly pulling an enemy into your dimension to duel. Weakening enemies is just another form of empowering myself. However, Reincarnation Abyss seems different from the game. There's no limit on the number of enemies. That means I'm not afraid of being surrounded. Imagine several equal-level foes ganging up on me. I can use Reincarnation Abyss to pull one into a different dimensional space, and if the enemy is strong, I stepped out of the cave. Saddle and the half-dragon Tortoisin were loyally guarding. Seeing me emerge, Saddle felt little. He's used to me changing drastically after a sleep. But the half-dragon Tortoisin was excited. Normally, a great dragon's slumber digests the dragon's legacy and growth in the mind. Such sleeps are counted in years. Yet this enormous black dragon had only slept a few days and grown so much. "Master, congratulations," Walson said without thinking and hurried to speak. "How have things been lately?" I asked directly. "My lord, too many creatures have pledged to us recently, causing chaos here. Some shortages and problems have emerged," Sadal said. Seeing Sadal's troubled look, I knew things were chaotic. Those who come to swear fealty bring nothing good, evil beings bickering because they dislike each other. Without my deterrent presence, we'd likely have descended into open fighting. Tell them I want a palace lair befitting my status. Nothing to do? Huh? Give them things to do. Only then did I truly feel the use of governance, even if it's by infamy. Looking at my towering form, Aljeta whispered, "Brother, I feel he's not like a normal black dragon. His growth rate is oddly uncanny." The siblings had also experienced long slumbers themselves. Each time they slept for years, and this black dragon grew more inscrutable to them. "Dilia, what's wrong?" Jarrett sensed the elven girl beside him acting odd. "I just feel this black dragon is somewhat familiar," Dilia said, dazed. "Dilia, you must have been overworked lately. You don't have to stay here with us," Jarrett said. "You saved my life. How could I just leave?" Dilia replied firmly. Meanwhile, Hannah and Emily were in bad shape. 3 swords were stuck in Emily's body. Hannah was fleeing with her. "Damn, future Black Dragon Queen will make them pay." Blood flowed from Emily's mouth, indicating the blades had pierced her organs, but dragon resilience kept her clinging to life. "Emily, shut up," Hannah warned. Humans had spotted them. Hannah estimated at least 400 to 500 were chasing them. Ha, so they ran this way after all. We're rich. 2 human warriors leapt out. Seeing the 2 wormlings felt like seeing mountains of gold. Grab them. The men knew the little black dragons were exhausted and likely had no strength left to resist. "Ha ha ha, we saw through your tricks. Just let us catch you." Just then, a jet of acidic liquid shot from Hannah's mouth, like a blade into the laughing man's mouth. White smoke rose from his throat, and he writhed in agony until he died. The other man hadn't reacted before Hannah and Emily pounced on him. Emily immediately bit the man's neck clean off. The 2 young dragons panted, looking around. "Hannah, you go, I'll hold them off," Emily suddenly said. "Emily, don't talk nonsense. I'm too badly wounded, and it's worse now I can't run." Emily remained domineering, but his tone softened considerably. "You leave now. When you mature, you can avenge me. If we both get captured, there's never a chance." Emily cut Hannah off when Hannah tried to speak. "Get out of here." Emily turned away and ignored Hannah. Hannah glanced back at Emily, gritted his teeth, and flew forward. After Hannah left, Emily stared at the empty forest and murmured, "Survive no matter what." Hannah hurried through the jungle, his mind in turmoil. How did things get like this? At that moment, he didn't notice. He was suddenly covered by a net from above. It reminded Hannah of when he was with me and got caught like that too, but I saved him then. Leader dog can finally have some fresh blood, someone cursed. Damn. Those guys wiped out all nearby prey. A gnoll cursed as he stepped out, followed by a much larger gnoll. It's a dragon," Dog froze when he saw the trapped creature. "Looks like it's really a dragon," the young gnoll said in shock. "We caught a little black dragon in a simple trap." Hannah heard them and realized humans hadn't captured them before there was still a chance. "I'm here to see the great calamity of despair put me down," Hannah shouted. Dog was surprised. The net held a little black dragon about 4 meters long and not as robust as himself. This was problematic, both being black dragons and thinking like that could mean this was the master's child. At that moment I, resting with closed eyes, noticed Gnoll Dog hurrying over. "My lord, we found a little black dragon. He says he wishes to swear fealty to you," Dog said as soon as he arrived. I was taken aback. "Bring the wormling in." Soon, Dog brought in a miserable-looking creature. Although months had passed, I recognized him at once. It was Hannah. Before I could speak, Hannah collapsed onto the ground. "Great calamity of despair, I am Hannah Tristan. I now utterly submit to you." Hannah looked up at the terrifying black dragon above, heart pounding. He was clearly an adult black dragon, far more imposing than Hannah's mother had been. Hannah had decided enslavement or whatever. He'd agree to anything if the dragon would save Emily. I reached out a claw and patted Hannah's small head, curiously asking, "You really don't remember me? I've never seen you before." Hannah cautiously lifted his head, then glanced up at my crown. "Wait, these horns." Hannah's face was full of disbelief as he asked cautiously, "Are you my big brother's father, then my father too?" "Nonsense, I am your big brother." I was baffled by this guy's logic. "Big brother." Hannah stared at me in disbelief, eyes wide. "Not like it?" The moment the words left my mouth, I felt I'd misspoken. My past self and current self, I doubt even my mother could tell us apart. Truly your big brother. Hannah spun around me excitedly, laughing. Never mind that. How did Emily get captured? I restrained Hannah's restless body. Hannah shook his head. Yes, Emily is the priority. We'll deal with the rest later. We were planning to come find you, but we ran into a group of humans who kept chasing us. After listening to Hannah, I thought those two had been through hell, hunted by beasts and humans, and surviving it all was impressive. They were damn lucky. Sadel, go fetch Jaren. I looked to Sadel. He was still dazed. Is this little black dragon the Lord's offspring? Yet somehow it didn't quite fit. At once, my lord. Gadal, though puzzled, went to fetch the golden dragon. Soon Jaren arrived, followed by his sister Aljeta and the elf Dilia. Jaren, you seem well recovered. I studied Jaren's complexion. He'd not only healed but seemed stronger. Thanks to your treatment, my lord. Jaren bowed slightly. Having decided to serve this black dragon, he felt settled. Suddenly, I sensed Aljeta and the elf nearby were off. Their heartbeats quickened in an instant. I looked at the elf. On my return, my attention had been on the gold and silver dragons. Now this elf looked familiar. Dilia's mood was complicated. The moment he saw the little black dragon, he trembled. He recognized it as the target his mercenary band had captured before, and his band had been wiped out so that he alone survived. My lord, the atmosphere feels wrong. Jaren hurriedly shielded Dilia. Aljeta watched me nervously, his eyes full of questions. Hannah, come here. I called to Hannah, who came scampering over, looking at me with puzzled curiosity. Hannah also sensed the unusual auras on Jaren and Aljeta. Do you know them? He scanned Dilia and Aljeta, then shook his head. There was no way he knew those people. He is the archer, Dilia said calmly. Hannah has seen Dilia before. He was wounded and captured for the first time then. You recognized him, then take action. Dilia, what's this about? Aljeta asked. Dilia explained the whole story. The mercenary band she belonged to had been slaughtered, and she was the only survivor. Jaren was distressed. Though different as a metallic and chromatic dragon, the idea of dragons being captured and sold by humans was intolerable. My lord, for the sake of our sibling bond, spare him once. Jaren sighed. Jaren, I have a task for you. Another little black dragon was taken by a group of humans. I need you to retrieve him. If you bring him back, I'll consider sparing Dilia. I could tell Jaren felt something for the elf. That could be leveraged. No problem, Jaren said immediately. Hannah told him the direction and rough origins of those humans. Jaren left quickly, leaving only Aljeta and Dilia. You two go downstairs first. I said nothing about locking the elf up. There was no point. Aljeta breathed a sigh of relief and led the dejected elf away. Big brother, how did you grow so big? Hannah couldn't contain his excitement with just the two of us left. Simple, eat and sleep. I actually have a bit of affection for this little sister, I replied. Hannah was at a loss for words. Big brother, I mean, we're not even a year old yet, right? Suddenly, I realized I'm still a fledgling dragon. I gazed at my 23-meter body and Hannah's roughly 4-meter frame and fell into thought. Somehow, news that the Saranya royal family had acquired a black dragon spread through nearby cities, even revealing the royal guard's routes and such. Some nearby powers also began to stir. After all, an adult black dragon is already so formidable. If they had one, how much stronger would their forces be? When Jaren arrived, he heard that the little black dragon had been taken to the capital. Jaren did not hesitate. He went straight to the mansion of Orson, the most powerful noble in Koso City, because according to the humans he had captured along the way, the little black dragon had ultimately been brought here. The two guards at the gate could not stop him. Jaren kicked them aside as he entered. Thus, Jaren surged into Count Orson's residence, unstoppable. What is this? Why do you barge into my home? Orson asked calmly. You caught a little black dragon earlier, right? So what? It's already been taken to the capital and likely contracted as someone's mount. Ha ha ha. Jaren was displeased at the man's arrogance. How could a true dragon be someone else's mount? In an instant, he was beside Count Orson, one hand pressing the man's throat. I'll ask you one last time. Yesterday, did the Saranya King's captain of the palace guard personally take that little black dragon? It has nothing to do with me, Orson began, but Jaren continued based on reports from his informants in the capital. Yesterday, the palace guard captain used a flying beast to take the little black dragon. It was already in the palace last night. Orson could no longer hide it. This was a serious problem. Jaren looked toward the capital. The Saranya Kingdom's strength far surpassed the Del Kingdom. There are many experts in the capital. If he stormed it, he might lose himself in the attempt. Humans have held their ground in this world for years and possess real power. Meanwhile, in the Sunset Forest, I sensed Jaren's actions through the mind chain. This was getting more interesting. I stretched my body as Hannah looked on. Enviously, he wanted to grow this big too, but no matter how he puzzled it out, he couldn't understand how I had grown like this. It defied normal biological growth cycles. I ignored my foolish little sister. I'll keep him as a pet or retainer, as long as he doesn't steal my food. Nearby, on a plain beside the Sunset Forest, the air brimmed with evil. Over 100,000 hostile creatures, gnolls, forest trolls, lizardmen, and others had gathered. My massive form swept over them, and I let out a deafening roar. My followers, I am your master. I used a bit of telepathy to ensure every creature could hear me, since some might not respond to mere shouting. A chaotic chorus of roars rose from below. I could tell they were stirred. Some dared to offend me. Some people from the Saranya Kingdom have taken my child. What shall we do? I asked. Kill them all. Eat them. The dark creatures raised their weapons and voiced their resolve. Good. Then now attack the human kingdom that dare defend us. I roared, and the mass below surged forward with excited cries. Hannah gaped. My brother would actually launch a large-scale war against the human kingdom for Emily. No, big brother couldn't really do that, he murmured, recalling how as a hatchling he fought for food and eggshells. There must be other motives. Soon, the hordes of evil beings advanced like a black tide toward the Saranya kingdom. Tazelton sits at the very edge of Saranya territory. So many troops were stationed there. A general on the wall shuddered as he looked at the dense mass of dark creatures approaching. Damn, how can so many dark things attack us? The mages aren't even here yet. Wait, they're already setting up ritual formations and monster engines. Hurry. But by then, it was almost too late. Creatures were already climbing the walls. From my cave, I watched the battle through the mine chain. This time, I had left almost none of my guards behind. I sent Saddle, Dogvix, the newly recruited Dragonkin, and the bodyguards out, dividing them into 4 forces advancing into Saranya territory, like 4 dragon claws. My lord, isn't launching such a massive invasion against a human kingdom a bit, Algeta whispered. Not letting them attack humans, do you expect us to fight among ourselves? Besides, the Saranya royal family dared to enslave a true dragon and must pay, I said, drawing closer to Algeta. Seeing naive Hannah beside me and imagining a similarly small black dragon suffering among humans, Algeta's sympathy for humans dwindled. His sympathy for humans had waned considerably, yet he was surprised that a black dragon could be so tender. To fight for his own offspring, he would indeed wage such a war. I sensed Algeta was imagining something, but I didn't provoke my followers. Their attack speed was terrifyingly fast, and by the time the Saranya kingdom reacted, they had already lost many cities. Damn, how did a perfectly good kingdom suddenly get invaded by dark creatures? Some nobles grumbled. They'd heard the royal family had seized that black dragon's child, a little black dragon. But wasn't that black dragon a male? Aren't dragon hatchlings raised by their mothers? Whatever, I'm pretty sure it's true. A distant relative of mine serves a lord, and the manor's been on high alert with dragon roars these days. Clearly the royals provoked it. Are they out of their minds? No kidding. Through the mine chain, I watched the ruined human cities and the dead, and felt not a flicker of emotion after all. I'm a dragon. Next, I had a more important task. I had been looking for high-grade water element ingredients but found none. A half-dragon named Tolson told me there might be powerful water element monsters in the Hoya Dragon Bay. Hoya Dragon Bay lies beside the Xingchuan mountain range, not too far from here. I plan to try my luck there. As for Saranya, I'll let my dark creatures wreak havoc. I didn't care much about casualties. Only the survivors become elite, the strongest. Algeta, stay and guard our home. Don't let anyone steal it. Then I flew straight into the sky and left. Hannah watched my departing form with longing, snorted, then sneaked a look at Algeta beside him. He already knew this was a silver dragon, nearly adult. I really don't know how Big Brother lured him back. Rumor has it he came with his elder brother. Little Algeta shook his long hair, then walked over to Hannah with a smile and patted Hannah's horns. Black dragons are so cute as hatchlings. Can you tell me who your mother is? Why is your father raising you? Algeta asked curiously. Isn't it usually the mother who raises the young? A male dragon raising a child, what the heck? That mother is so irresponsible. Hannah rolled his eyes at the hopeful look and thought, this silver dragon must be crazy, no wonder Big Brother tricked him here. The two stared at each other for a long time, feeling unable to communicate, when Jarrett rushed in breathless. He glanced around and saw only his sister and the little black dragon. Where is the black dragon lady? The lord left a while ago. Where did he go? Brother, what's the matter? Jarrett blurted. The lady started a large-scale war against the human kingdom. I know because they captured the lord's child. Isn't that a lesson for the humans? Algeta said matter-of-factly. Jarrett thought of the ravaged, deserted cities below, and the countless human casualties. If that's a lesson, it's a harsh one. Putting that aside, Jarrett felt his sister had changed and something was off, though he couldn't say what. At that moment, I finally arrived at my destination, Hoya Dragon Bay. Interesting, but soon I detected other life. Countless bipedal wyverns burst from the dense foliage, circling me with shrill cries. Their leader seemed agitated but only wanted me to leave. They didn't want to fight. I unleashed my draconic might and let out a deafening roar. The wyverns, hit by both my aura and the wild scream, fell into chaos. Facing death or submission, I told the leader. You win, I'm in good spirits. I slowed my descent and landed on the beach. The wyvern leader folded its wings and crouched before me in submission. Then all the wyverns bowed their heads and sat on the ground to show fealty. I looked at these hundreds of wyverns with pleasure. Now I had my own air force. From today you are my master, I said, then planted the twisting seed into the leader's body. From today you shall be called Zhuogeng, the wyvern leader repeated, feeling changed. After subduing the wyverns, I flew back over the sea. According to Zhuogeng, this was shallow sea, so there were no particularly powerful monsters here. To find the strong sea beasts we had to go deeper. I had the Wyvern King lead me to the open sea, and soon I felt we'd flown tens of thousands of meters. I suddenly noticed a massive ship in the sea, about 150 meters long. Those aboard seemed to have spotted me and the bipedal Wyvern King. After all, I was only 700 or 800 meters above the surface. In the captain's quarters, a crewman said gravely, "There are 2 dragons in the sky they've fixed on our ship. Activate the protective array and have the warriors and casters prepare. The captain issued orders calmly. Having spent years at sea, he knew this vessel was no weak gig. Even dragons shouldn't expect an easy victory. A wyvern let out a hiss, ready to strike, but I stopped him. I had noticed something more interesting. The crew below breathed easier, seeing the two dragons had not attacked. It seemed the dragons were agitated but restrained. The captain reassured everyone. Still, he was on full alert, though far off. The dragon's size was astonishing, and an attack would be troublesome. As he thought this, the whole ship suddenly shuddered. Everyone aboard panicked. With a deep, heavy crash, a gigantic creature smashed a huge chunk out of the hull. Countless cargo and crew went down into the deep. From the sky, I saw clearly that the attacker was one of the ocean's most fearsome beasts, a colossal dragon turtle. The fight below was near its end. Under the dragon turtle's terrible croc-like assault, the ship didn't even hold for a second before breaking apart. "Zugeng, stay here. I'll deal with this one," I said, then dove downward. As expected, this creature was the high-grade water element monster I was hunting. My massive body crashed into the dragon turtle's shell as it chewed through the wreckage. With the turtle's roar, its huge form was slammed into the depths, and I plunged into the sea with it after all. I'm a black dragon and skilled at naval combat. Why did the black dragon attack me? Submit to me or I kill you, the dragon turtle demanded in draconic anger. I bluntly stated my purpose, but the dragon turtle flatly refused my request. True dragons are powerful, but the deep sea is this turtle's domain. Few can challenge it, given its enormous bulk and tough defenses. I decided to force it into servitude. I charged the turtle head-on in the water. Though much smaller, my momentum and presence were greater. My teeth sank into the turtle's forelimb and ripped away a huge chunk of flesh, which enraged it. The turtle's mouth emitted a dazzling white light and expelled a cone of steam toward me. I blinked, stepped behind it, and dug a claw into the shell, but the armor was too thick. Even after breaching the outer layer, I couldn't truly wound it. Repeated strikes showed the turtle's immense body granted it huge vitality, strength, and defense. Another black dragon alone couldn't handle it. I could grind it down to death, but my intent was to subdue, not kill. Now that I knew its strength, things were manageable. Reincarnation abyss. Under the turtle's anxious gaze, we suddenly appeared in a gray, misty space. The turtle sharply realized its body had grown much weaker. Strength and defenses both faltered. It shoved hard but couldn't break the space. What spatial magic is this that can restrain me? It snorted. You're enormous, I said. The turtle's massive size nearly ruptured this tiny dimensional space. Its bulk prevented it from using its full power here. It could only watch as I attacked. A blue-white beam began to issue from my mouth, aimed at the turtle's head. The streak skimmed its skull, unnerving it. What is that element? Like your steam, but hotter. Aren't black dragons limited to acid? It asked. Will you submit? I said, agree to one condition and I will submit to you, otherwise kill me. The turtle's deep voice replied, you have no right to set conditions, but I value you and will give you this chance. Speak. I want you to surpass me in the areas I'm best at, strength and defense. Your defense is already breached, the rest is strength. Fine, I'll grant it. I immediately dispelled the reincarnation abyss and released the dragon turtle back into the sea. Once freed, it moved like a fish in water. It didn't flee but stared at me. I activated the atomic bombardment overload mode. In this state, my strength is amplified. Come on, I said, and charged the turtle, which met me head-on without backing down. With a thunderous crash at the point of impact, the seawater boiled as if simmering. When the waters calmed, I had seized the turtle's tail on the sea floor and dragged it up step by step to the surface. The turtle was battered and covered in wounds. It opened its eyes tiredly and looked at me. You win, I submit to you. From today, I acknowledge you as my master. Good, take me to your lair. I was pleased with this subordinate. I had to plunder him. Soon the turtle led me to its cave. Inside the cave I saw mountains of gold and silver, countless pearls and corals, and an endless array of human weapons and such. Even expecting it, I was astonished this was the accumulation of hundreds or even thousands of years. The turtle looked reluctant and pained at his hoard. This was all his life's accumulation. Since you offer all your treasures to me, I won't be stingy, I said. I condensed a twisting seed and fused it into the turtle's body. Its wounds began to heal astonishingly. Its size slowly increased, and its claws and fangs lengthened. The turtle suppressed his hunger and watched his body's dramatic transformation with real excitement. Previously, his size had nearly reached the species limit. Likely he'd remain that size for life. But the twisting seed I granted seemed to give him much room to grow. He felt he could become larger. Master, I'm going to feed first, he said. I, admiring his collection, waved him off. I thought the turtle's hoard could fuel 2 or even 3 feasts, and grant many enhancements. This guy truly is a treasure turtle. After stretching, the turtle swam into its den. I lay atop his treasure mountain, ready to indulge. What's your name? I asked. I couldn't keep calling him Dragon Turtle. It sounded odd. Noah, the turtle answered. That name seemed significant. I told him about the area's situation. I had found some other things among his hoard, some humanoid bones. Master, I'm one of the most powerful beasts nearby, the turtle began, but I interrupted. Then, there must be something even stronger than you. There is a group of ruthless fishermen nearby who worship a deep-sea leviathan. That leviathan's strength is comparable to mine. I can't kill it, nor can it kill me. We've fought several times to a stalemate. The deep-sea leviathan is also a very powerful Sea King-class monster. Go kill that deep sea Leviathan. Any problem? I asked. It's been strengthened so much. If you still can't slay one, I doubt your capability. Master, rest assured I will bring back that creature's corpse. Noah thought of his old rival and steeled himself, then departed with full confidence. I used the mind chain to check on the Sarani Kingdom's battlefield. The dark creatures there had already gone berserk. Strangely, the kingdom's legendary mages and warriors showed no sign of action. I couldn't understand it. Dark creatures were ravaging the nation, yet no response. Saranya wasn't as simple as I thought. In the royal palace in the capital, King Isaac, protected by guards, stared at the little black dragon in the huge cage before him. Emily listlessly watched the humans outside the cage. She said nothing, only memorizing each of them. Your Majesty, the black dragon's will is too steadfast. No matter what we try, we can't sway him. A court caster said helplessly. Can we forcibly enslave him? The king asked. Sire, if it were the king himself, the realm's powerful warriors or casters could force a pact, while the dragon is young, the caster continued, then practically pointed at the king's nose. Your mental strength is lacking. Don't you realize how weak you are? Then proceed. I will personally become his master and bind him with a soul contract, Isaac said firmly. This black dragon must be under my control. But your Majesty, this dragon's sire is sending kin to attack our country. Hundreds of thousands have already died and millions displaced. The cost is too great, and the darkness is nearly spreading to the capital. Several ministers urged caution. The darkness refers to humans, what the black dragon's minions are called. To the ministers, Isaac was being reckless. Why not let stronger warriors serve as dragon riders instead of going himself? I'll say it once more. I will sign the pact with him. Do not make me repeat myself. He also ordered the mercenary guild to post bounties and summon powerful mercenaries to fight the darkness. After saying this, Isaac left, leaving the ministers and casters exchanging glances. Isaac sneered as he left. How could the lives of common peasants compare to his aims? There were two main reasons he insisted on binding the black dragon. One was the provocation by the Voltan family, which made him feel the importance of power. The other was that during royal protection, he discovered a magic that can share a dragon's lifespan provided the dragon does not resist and cooperates fully. For Saranya, as long as the royal legendary archmage and the two legendary warriors remain, the lost lands can be reclaimed. After a day and a night, the dragon turtle Noah returned, covered in small wounds. He returned, dragging the corpse of an enormous magical beast in his mouth. I finally saw the full scale of the deep-sea Leviathan. It was huge. Master, this is that creature's corpse, Noah said. He hadn't expected the foe to be so tenacious. He fought the Leviathan for a day and night and was nearly slain in return. If he hadn't been strengthened beforehand, he most likely would have lost. Good, this thing is clearly a powerful water element beast and must have innate traits. I'll have the turtles set aside some flesh and blood to eat with the Leviathan's corpse later. Surely he'll gain excellent water attribute talents. As a reward, I spat out a stream and severed roughly a third of the Leviathan's massive millipede-like body. After you eat this, your wounds will fully recover, Noah said. Looking at me, this black dragon is generous. Though using his own things as a reward, he's far stronger than an ordinary five-colored dragon. Master, in the deep-sea Leviathan's territory, I also found a spatial passage. I'm curious where it leads. It should lead to the water elemental plane, Noah said. Water elemental plane. Unexpectedly, I felt this offered a better option. Not to mention other things, water elemental plane's water colossi are rare delicacies. While I pondered, through the mind chain, I saw a vision. Something had gone wrong in the Saranya kingdom. Vir City had become the fourth human city occupied by the lizardman leader, but this time they seemed to be in trouble. The lizard leader looked up. The huge shadow in the sky darkened his expression. There was a massive floating islet, roughly 200 meters across, with faint figures visible. Humans who possess such floating islets are generally legendary human mages. This is bad. These dark creatures under Lord Theodore went too far. Quell City's inhabitants have mostly perished. Exterminate such cruel creatures, someone said. But many residents remained in the cities under Theodore. These lizard men intended to use them as hostages. Quell City still has at least 200,000 civilians. A powerful holy magic would annihilate the darkness but also flatten Quell City. To punish the darkness, that's a necessary sacrifice, Theodore said calmly. Holy light judgment, Theodore waved one hand. Light erupted from him as a massive magic orb of endless radiance and heat descended upon Quell City. The lizard leader did not expect the human legendary caster to be so ruthless, willing to destroy a city. Still, he had contingency plans, but those people were likely doomed. In that instant, an immensely powerful blue breath smashed the holy light orb to pieces. That is Lord True Dragon, the lizard leader said, watching the enormous figure flying in the distance. I hovered at the same height as the floating islet, my crimson eyes fixed on the people above. The floating islet was actually a powerful aerial base with various defensive arrays, offensive magic constructs, golems, and many formidable devices. Black Dragon, you finally arrive. Theodore stood up on the islet. You seem very confident, I said, watching his cocky demeanor. This guy looks like he's been waiting for me. To be honest, before meeting you I was very sure, but now I'm a bit uncertain. Theodore smiled. Here's my offer. I can act as bishop. I'll return the little black dragon King Isaac captured to you. But you must serve me for 100 years, Theodore stipulated. Theodore never planned to bind that little black dragon. It's just a hatchling and would cost time, resources, and effort to raise. A mature black dragon is different. That's why when Isaac asked him to help bind the hatchling, he ignored it. His true target from the start was me. I stared at him in surprise. He didn't look impressive, but his ambition was audacious. I've only been in this world less than a year, and you're asking me to serve you for 100 years. I cursed him brutally, telling him to go choke on it. Theodore thought he'd misheard such a mighty legendary mage being insulted in such coarse language by a dragon. Then I'll first strip you of any power to resist. Red Spirit, Holy Light Charge. Theodore's eyes brimmed with killing intent. As he chanted, a thick white pillar of light shot toward me like lightning. I beat my wings to dodge. Is your speed faster than light now? Theodore said. Unsurprised, I evaded. Such slow casting spells aren't standard, invoking the light god's name to bind darkness, the shackles of light. Several white chains radiating powerful magical aura appeared behind me. I dodged 3, but one wrapped around my left foreclaw. A tingling numbness washed over me, somewhat like the sensation when I once had cupping done in my past life. I instantly wore an expectant expression. Any more? That felt good? Your move really hit the spot. Theodore looked at me puzzled. Even lightly struck by the shackles of light, a creature should be paralyzed. Why was I enjoying it? Blades of light, countless 2-meter light blades, rained toward me like drops. I formed a sealing palm. Under my dragon magic, a transparent wind blade manifested before me. The light blades collided with the seal, sending ripples outward. Those light blades, weakened by the seal, were feeble when they hit me, giving me that same tingling, pleasurable numbness again. Holy light, face shot. With a rumble, a massive orb of light smashed through the seal and slammed into my chest, exploding. This evil dragon is dead for sure. No one survives the holy light exorcism orb, a warrior told his comrade. Yet Theodore's eyes showed no joy. As the magic dissipated, my unscathed form stood where I'd been. Lord Theodore, it seems you didn't harm him much. Didn't you say no one could survive that attack? I said no human could. Dragons are different, Theodore replied. Just as Theodore prepared to cast another spell, I let out a powerful resonant note. Instantly, every mage on the floating islet, Theodore included, felt their mana go haywire. Such a disruption at that moment is deadly. Every spell was instantly thrown into chaos, and my figure vanished from where I stood. I reappeared beside Theodore and opened my jaws to bite. I've been waiting a long time for this chance. Theodore chanted quickly. Spirits of the sky, light of lights, protect your people from evil. Spread your shining wings and block all darkness. Holy light, angelic guard. A mysterious force hurled me back through the air. I stabilized myself mid-flight and fixed my gaze on Theodore below. A colossal angelic humanoid radiating sacred light appeared behind Theodore. Its immense, holy form made a powerful visual impact. Even I felt this being's entrance carried more gravitas than mine. Then taste true judgment, experience the angel's might. To die beneath the divine projection's power will be your honor, Theodore declared, waving his hands. The giant angel behind him mirrored the motion. Reincarnation Abyss. I unleashed the Reincarnation Abyss against the guarding Holy Spirit. Under Theodore's gaze, the massive black dragon and his guardian spirit vanished outright. What's happening? Theodore felt the spiritual link between him and the guardian spirit go utterly silent. In the gray reincarnation space, I watched the guardian spirit before me. From the moment it entered here, something was wrong. It looked agonized. Its once massive form couldn't hold. It slowly shrank to under 10 meters and grew increasingly blurred. So you died without me lifting a finger? I watched him curiously. Unexpectedly, the guardian spirit suddenly looked up at me, as if saying, go to hell and get your heaven. In an instant, the guardian spirit transformed into a massive white greatsword, radiating intense reverence. Endless light filled the entire dimensional reincarnation space. With a crack, the greatsword sliced me. My horn atop my head throbbed in pain. The feeling of my horn being cut off was like someone knocking on my bones, but such an attack was already the opponent's all-out move. After the strike ended, a palm-sized white crystal fell into the dimensional reincarnation space. I ignored my wound at worst. I'll go out and kill some humans to recover. I put the white crystal in my palm. This thing should be edible, right? Suddenly, Theodore spat blood. His mental link with the guardian spirit was completely severed. He knew exactly what that meant. Impossible. That was the power of a divine caster. Anything is possible. My form appeared beside Theodore. I looked in good shape, and my horn was regrowing. What did you do? He asked. Haven't you already guessed? I lost, so kill me, Theodore said with righteous solemnity. You're brave. I'll oblige. I flew before Theodore and bit down. Instantly, he was split in two. Then I searched for his storage Magitech device. Time for the loot box. I placed Theodore's upper torso into his Magitech and planned to sort through his belongings later. There were some food ingredients and decent pieces of armor. I spread my wings and flew into the city. What's your name again? I looked at the lizardman leader Reed. He shouted loudly, sensing his chance had come. Reed, I now give you an order. Bring everything from that floating islet back to my lair. The city holds many treasures. At once, great true dragon lord, Reed replied, excited to finally receive recognition. Good. Go tell the others we'll have a batch of wyverns arriving as reinforcements. I thought it over and decided to have the wyvern clan join the battle. The Air Force is unquestionably powerful in this era. After speaking, I flew toward the tribe to begin preparing the feast. Damn. I'd long said that damned king is unreliable. He's the one who captured the black dragon's child and caused all this. That damned king even killed the great Lord Theodore. My family is a high noble in the capital will make Isaac pay. He should be handed over to the Black Dragon to atone. The surviving nobles were plotting how to kill their own king. To them he was responsible for all this. Under my kin's attacks, Saranya's armies retreated steadily. The Saranya kingdom was filled with anger and fear over the death of the legendary Archmage Theodore. He was the kingdom's strongest mage. The other two legendary warriors had turned into scared turtles. It's laughable. Together, they probably couldn't beat Theodore's guardian. The Black Dragon killed him almost unscathed. Asking them to slay a dragon is suicide. Saranya nearly fell into collapse, though some mercenaries answered the call and began resisting my forces. Days later, in my dragon court, I looked at the piled-up spoils and felt satisfied. You all did very well. Now, the dragon-bonded Torsen and the lizard-man leader Saddle, Kobold, Dog, and others all demonstrated their strength in this campaign. Then I separated a twisting seed and directly fused it into the dragon-bonded Torsen's body. Torsen's body kept growing. Minutes later he exceeded 5 meters in height and sprouted a pair of dragon wings. "Thank you, Master," he said, understanding this all came from my gift. This unprecedented power filled him with gratitude. Henceforth, he'd follow the true dragon even if the sky fell. The other tribe leaders present were astonished, watching the transformation into such a huge half-dragon. Could this be the legendary Dragonvein warrior modification? Seeing the other leaders' expectant faces, I said, "This is a modification magic, it will awaken your potential." Amid their anticipation, I also bestowed twisting seeds upon the Earth Gold Chief, the Bear Gold Chief, and the Western Chief. Their changes weren't nearly as dramatic as the dragon-bonded Torsens, but compared to their former strength, they more than doubled. As for Saddle and Dog, and several other minor chiefs who had already accepted and been seeded with twisting seeds, I rewarded them with some powerful equipment. Hannah watched the gold and jade mountain and the weapons with stars in his eyes. "Big brother is too generous, such fine gear should be kept for yourself, not given to those guys." Hannah fell into thought watching me. He felt his mind must be broken. The original form Jarrett and the Algeta siblings then walked in. "Algeta looks even prettier," I said, and when Jarrett heard that he guarded his sister warily. "Master, Algeta is not yet of age, I know. This time, you two will join the army on the campaign." Jarrett wanted to say something, but seeing my fierce gaze he fell silent. Compared to indifferent humans, his sister mattered more. He wouldn't risk doing anything reckless while I watched. A few days later, Sophia came to my lair. The Del Queen pressed against my draconic chest in my dragon form. "Lord, the Saranya kingdom seems to want peace," Sophia probed. "They show no real sincerity for peace. These humans think I'm some charity." I felt Sophia's heartbeat with my claw. Satisfied, this is the dragon life I deserve. "Lord, if you don't want to deal with them, that's fine," Sophia cooed. He was proud that I was so enamored with his body, proof of his charm. After all, this is a true dragon who can easily destroy a kingdom, and he is now the one closest to the dragon. He didn't care about Saranya. In fact, during this time he seized a lot of Saranya's lands and peasants, far more valuable than county-level wealth. This gave Sophia an ambition. He hoped I would wipe out Saranya's resistance, so he could annex their territory into his own kingdom, greatly expanding Del's domain. At the thought, Sophia grew excited and sprang into action. "Lord," I watched Sophia and knew exactly what he was thinking. I lunged at him, and for a moment the air filled with a scent heavy with amorous intent. But soon Sophia begged for mercy. "Just kidding, I'm a true dragon. 100 more like you wouldn't faze me." Sophia was clumsy and playful. Satisfied, I flew to Hoya Dragon Bay and went straight to the Sea Dragon Turtle's cavern. "From now until I return, you must stay here and guard this place," I ordered. "Understood, Master." Then I entered the cavern and began the feast. The familiar hunger returned. As I expected, the thing smelled irresistible. I swallowed it without hesitation. As I devoured the core, in a white world, a glowing humanoid opened golden eyes. Part of my projection avatars were annihilated. Even the core was gone. The core is the projection's entire power. If a human mage got it, they'd certainly research it. The temptation of such power is irresistible. But now the projections were wiped, separated by the veil. He had no idea what happened, only the last known location of the vanished avatars. After all, they were mere projections, not deities. After devouring most of the dragon turtle's treasure, I finally satisfied the feast's needs. I may have been too optimistic. The dragon turtle's hoard could sustain maybe one more meal. But even with that deep-sea leviathan's corpse added, it wouldn't be rich. I'll need to raid more. The Saranya king had fallen into panic. King Isaac ground his teeth in fury at the nobles. How much had he given them since taking power? How much of the commoners' wealth had been siphoned to them? Yet when faced with the black dragon, they all chose to cower, even demanding his abdication, and that he personally go to the dragon's lair to atone. Damn it, that's not the dignified death a king should have. After all, that black dragon has a history of killing human kings. A hulking silver-armored warrior entered. "Your Majesty, the great nobles refused to mobilize their troops against the Black Scourge. They claim the war stemmed from the king's selfishness, so the king must have a solution. They propose to support you with funds and such." The murmurs faded, the claim had been weighed. The noble's words were harsh. "I understand. How is the other matter I asked you to handle?" Isaac asked, oddly calm. "Those mercenaries were fools. We paid the captains to shout about resisting evil, and with hidden soldiers among the crowd they rushed off hot-headedly to their deaths. The subordinate grew more and more enthusiastic as he spoke, but when he saw Isaac's expressionless face, he was instantly startled. He hurriedly added that they were true warriors, our heroes. No, you're right, they're idiots, Isaac interrupted. Just a bunch of fame and fortune-seeking fools. If they can buy us some time, it's their honor. If that little black dragon won't yield, we'll have to consider other means. Isaac mulled over various strategies. In the pitch-black dragon turtle cavern, I woke from slumber. My 26-meter body felt overwhelmingly imposing. I moved my limbs to adapt to the suddenly enlarged form, then looked at the panel. Child of Death, you can mark an enemy. If you kill them inside the reincarnation abyss, you can permanently enslave their soul. But be careful, if you enslave too many souls, certain beings may take notice. This talent must be used in conjunction with the reincarnation abyss. It was likely provided by that spirit. But why must the enemy be killed inside the reincarnation abyss, and why would collecting many souls alert some existence? Could it be the gods of this world? I began to ponder. The water affinity control I needed hadn't appeared yet. I'd eaten the dragon turtle's flesh and the deep-sea leviathan's flesh. How could there be no trait? Did I really need to go outside to the water elementals and catch a water colossus, or eat some powerful water elementals? Forget it, I'll check the battle first. Through the mind chain, I began surveying my followers' status in the Saranya War. The pillaging seemed to be going smoothly with no serious resistance. But humans are stubborn. Even so, many dark creatures still fell. However, Saranya's morale was truly low. They hadn't unleashed everything in these circumstances. Emily, what the hell? Something's off. Someone is raiding the home. I thought having Aljeta and Gerard at home would be fine, but I hadn't expected the enemy to field such a lavish raiding force. We must return quickly. Lord Igor, that's the Black Dragon's cave ahead, a slight figure said. Then let this Black Dragon become our next glory. He was the commander of the Iron Blood Mercenary Corps, Igor the Gourd Bearer, the famed legendary mercenary company. Their captain was a renowned legendary warrior. The company also included a legendary mage and another legendary warrior. They had many proud achievements. The Iron Blood Corps' most famous feat was spending over a month to slay a green fiend entrenched in Cortel. At that moment in the lair, Aljeta and Delia were watching the surroundings, observing the craftsmen building palace complexes for me. Those builders are amazing. Delia relaxed after exposing the worry she'd carried. Ilya, don't worry, my brother and I will protect you. The Lord may look fierce, but he's actually good. Since coming here, she found the Black Dragon was quite alright. He helped her and her brother grow stronger and hadn't killed Delia. Aljeta, thank you, Delia said with a smile. It's nothing, Aljeta began, but before he finished, a panicked cry rang out. A vague alarm, an enormous crimson magic circle quickly formed in the sky, covering the entire area above the dragon's lair. Then 3 people swaggered in, followed by some mercenaries. They made no attempt to hide, as if entering their own home, and curiously inspected everything. Surrounded by dark creatures, they showed no worry. After settling Delia, Aljeta leapt into the air and, by his vantage, made out the invader's appearance. His eyes fixed on those relaxed-faced humans, the real targets. A white blast of icy breath shot straight at the 3 of them. The legendary warrior Kalen produced a massive shield that blocked Aljeta's earth-based sneak attack. He was a silver dragon. Igor licked his lips, looking at Aljeta. Silver dragons were among the most beautiful and graceful of their kind. Although I couldn't appreciate that dragon form, their humanoid guise was probably enticing, would likely taste good. Isn't this the Black Dragon's lair? Could the intel be wrong? The legendary mage Koff wondered. You dare trespass into Blacklord's domain? Aljeta hadn't expected that a casual breath would kill 3 humans. He was simply curious that despite the Black Lord's fearsome reputation, people still rushed here to die. Even if the 3 before him were legends, it wouldn't matter. The 3 offered no answer to Aljeta's question, instead testing Igor with their gazes. The 3 quickly surrounded Aljeta. Kill him, I want to tear his wings off myself. Igor licked his lips, brandished his long blade, and his eyes seemed to glow red. Kalen gritted his teeth, hefted his greatsword and followed behind Igor, wanting to become a true dragon slayer. Bang, an explosion sounded. The unprepared Igor failed to dodge and sparks engulfed him. It worked! Vix, the leader of the Earth Mages, shouted excitedly. His modified Earth magic bomb seemed powerful, but before he could celebrate, the smoke was dispersed. Igor brushed dust off himself, thinking it was just some insects surprisingly interesting. Kalen will slaughter them. Obey orders, you despicable mages, welcome your doom. Kalen sneered at the distant mages. Vix's expression changed. He looked in astonishment behind Kalen. What did you say? A vast black shadow loomed over the human warrior. Behind Kalen, Koff hurriedly warned him. Kalen felt his back turn icy. Without looking, he chose to flee forward. Our lord is the magnificent true dragon. Vix and the other dark creatures were instantly invigorated, feeling secure as they gazed up at the oppressive black dragon. Aljeta came beside me, eyes wide. How did he grow so fast? What did he eat? That size is ridiculous. I ignored Aljeta. My attention was entirely on the 3 legendary humans opposite. The sword legend looked like the weakest, not worth noting. The dark necromancer's power seemed considerable. As for the man in all that lavish gear, I couldn't read him. His life aura was oddly complex. This wasn't simply a black dragon. What about Igor? Koff, annoyed by my exaggerated size, asked. Kill him, Igor said, then charged first with his great blade. He knew he had to strike first to rally these two schemers. Koff and Kalen exchanged a glance. Koff continued casting. Black mist rose as green ghost fire flamed, swarming toward me in groups. Kalen unleashed his full fighting aura and leapt after Igor. The reincarnation abyss, a gray light flashed, and both Igor's and my bodies vanished from the spot. Koff closed his eyes and began chanting to locate us, but 3 seconds later, he opened them in dismay. The monstrous black dragon and Igor seemed to have completely vanished. Within tens of kilometers, there was no trace of Igor. In the gray reincarnation space, I looked at the mercenary captain Igor. I was curious, a half-human, half-vampire, hiding among a human mercenary band and serving as captain. What was his aim? You are not a black dragon either. We're all just different kinds of anomalies, Igor said without surprise at being exposed, then asked. To him, being anomalous within his species meant no one looked down on another. Igor was powerful but had to remain hidden. He was an outcast to both humans and vampires. Neither would accept his true self. Vampires considered him a disgrace to their kind. Who the hell is like you? A glow erupted from my chest. A blue pillar of light shot from my mouth. Igor tried to dodge, but several wind columns suddenly appeared and trapped him atop the clouds. The blue breath tore Igor to pieces. Black smoke rose as his form vanished, yet I sensed no death information from him. Vampires can transform into bats to avoid harm, a clever trick. The true dragon's vast legacy in my memory had encountered many such tactics. Vampires knew these methods well. As I spoke, countless bats with red glowing eyes flew from where Igor had disappeared, then converged to form his silhouette. His face grew paler, fangs sharper, and a huge blood-red cloak unfurled behind him. That appearance matched the vampires I remembered. Where is this place? Igor looked at me uneasily. He had only intended to sip a great dragon's heart blood to grow stronger, and hadn't expected to encounter such a monster. Is it even useful to ask them now? I said aloud. Igor looked at the creature and knew this dragon-like monster wanted his life. Then we must fight to the death. Blood steamed from Igor like crimson flames as he gripped a blood-red great blade. Come, then killing me won't be that easy. Blood swirled around the blade as he slashed toward me. My form vanished in an instant. Igor was on full alert. He tried to turn, but it was too late. A searing pain shot through him. He was blasted backward, his legs completely gone. If he weren't a vampire, that wound would have ended him long ago. You're clearly stronger than me, why keep ambushing me? Igor protested. That creature had ambushed Kalen before and now relied on surprise in fighting him again. What does being powerful have to do with ambushing? Isn't greater strength meant to enable better ambushes? I looked at Igor as if he were an imbecile. Without an absolute immortality trump card, I treat every enemy seriously who knows if he'll pull out some mighty artifact and instantly kill me. Igor stared at me, nearly choking on his breath. It was the first time he'd met a being so shameless. Your survival ability is decent out there, many stronger than you might not be able to be killed. Too bad this is my turf. I'd heard vampires could suppress undeath with blood and presence, true or not, I didn't know. Flames rose all over me again, and the ground of the reincarnation space began to tremble. Countless fire elementals in the space instantly formed a sea of fire, hurricane winds howling to contain the blaze. In moments, the entire reincarnation space was engulfed by a flaming storm. Igor didn't sit idle. Rivers of blood like giant serpents swirled about him, the blood faintly countering the inferno. I used Void Walk to close to Igor and roared, absorbing countless high-temperature flames. My body detonated right beside him. Igor's body split into innumerable blood-red bats, but the surrounding inferno's heat caused them to scream and melt away. After a long while, the reincarnation space calmed. I didn't bother with the storage magic items or rings on the ground. Instead, I reached into the adjacent space. I seized a red crystal the size of a human fist. Trying to hide your blood in the reincarnation space, this half-vampire was a bit naive. Wait, we can. As a strand of consciousness leaked from the blood essence, I crushed it. I'd already collected vampire samples. A gray silhouette slowly congealed the Igor from moments ago. The Igor before me looked dazed and very different from when alive, his whole form gray. I closed my eyes and attuned to my first Death Child's state. Seconds later, he opened his eyes. Death Children were more powerful than I imagined. Most of Igor's memories were preserved and I could inspect them at will. Unfortunately, Igor hadn't retained all his former strength, only about 80%. A vampire's greatest assets are stubborn survival and undead traits, but Death Children seem to have many other abilities that need further testing. Right, weren't there 2 test subjects outside? We can test the Death Child's power on them. You are Death Child number 1. From today I'll call you 1. Sahea's voice came from number 1's mouth. I concentrated and left the reincarnation space. On the first day, I turned into a black dragon. I wanted to experiment on my 2 unhatched little sisters. Even Dragon Mother makes my mouth water because I awakened a golden talent called Feast. It can grow stronger through continuous devouring. Outside the reincarnation space, Algeta was fighting the remaining dark creatures against 2 human legends. Koff and Kalen were listlessly dealing with the attacks. Igor and that black dragon had vanished so bizarrely it gave them a very bad feeling. So both intended to conserve their strength and adapt as needed. At that moment, the space warped and my massive form appeared in place. Koff and Kalen watched the towering black dragon warily, but they saw no sign of Igor. The 2 exchanged a glance and planned to make a run for it. A gray silhouette darted toward where Igor had been. Kalen knew Igor well and recognized that familiar, distinctive movement. Cough, however, silently took a step back. As a necromancer, he keenly sensed Igor's state was off, but before he could think it through, Igor was already in front of Kalen. Igor, what are you? Kalen's words were cut off. He looked down at his chest where a talon was embedded, piercing his breast. Why? Kalen stared in disbelief at the expressionless Igor. Though he disliked Igor, he never expected Igor to ambush and try to kill him now. The legendary warrior's vitality was tenacious. Even with his chest pierced by Igor, Kalen's life hadn't ended, but he could feel his strong, powerful heart clutched in Igor's hand. If the other squeezed, his heart would shatter. Number 1 flew Kalen behind me. Seems effective. I was satisfied. I only need to command him to kill an enemy, and Number 1 will use his mind to determine how. I stopped him when he was about to crush Kalen's heart. After all, he's a legendary warrior, worth considering as Deathchild. Number 2. How did you do it? Cough asked Number 1 excitedly. How could anyone create such a perfect undead so quickly? Not bad. Yourself any tricks? I ignored his question and sized the mage up. Some of his aura strangely resembled Arthas, though he wasn't undead. If transformed into a Deathchild via the reincarnation abyss, it might be interesting. A chill ran through Cough. He clasped his hands and chanted. A pitch-black vortex appeared beside him. With a hoarse roar, an ominous creature manifested, the undead ancient dragon. Before I spoke, Algeta swooped up from below. How dare you kill one of our kind? Algeta was furious and ready to charge, but I held him back. Quiet, let me handle this. I patted Algeta's skull like soothing a kitten. Algeta's agitation calmed. He stole a glance at me. I felt little. My body and soul were fully under my control, though the inherited pride of being dragonkind made me slightly uncomfortable. You're provoking us. The star-red glow in my eyes flared. Cough felt uneasy. Summoning the undead ancient dragon seemed to have backfired. He'd done something foolish. Kill Cough. The undead ancient dragon roared as it lunged at me, beating its wings. My massive body charged straight at the ancient dragon. The dragon spewed a black smoke, but its breath had little effect on me. My flame-covered body repelled those attacks. I realized the breath wasn't an energy strike but a very special kind of virus. What rotten luck. Cough thought this black dragon had too many tricks, most of which countered him. Those flames weren't ordinary, so his viral attacks barely mattered. Crack. I was already ripping bones apart with my bare claws. My strength and size far surpassed the ancient dragon, like an adult beating a child. First I snapped both wings, then the foreclaws. The undead dragon's resistance seemed pale and powerless. As I tore out its spine, the dragon's bones formed several long blades that began to coil toward me. How I envy your true dragon inheritance. Everything is obvious at a glance, unlike us ordinary beings, Cough said with some envy. So you weren't just after a true dragon's body, you lusted for its ancestral memory too. I admire you a bit. You muscle and treasure fools couldn't use such great knowledge. Only beings like us can protect it, I said. Before Cough finished speaking, my body vanished and reappeared in front of him. A massive white bone lay between us. I struck with a claw and the ancient shield shattered. Then a breath attack surged directly at Cough. The power of kings, the will of souls, wandering the black earth, roaming the blood-red sky. By ancient covenant, I command you to gather into my hand and become my strength. Return all life beneath the bright god's feet, undeath arise. Cough's voice echoed as black mists poured from his body. They formed a huge black orb. My breath pierced it, and the dragon bones rapidly flew into it. As the darkness slowly dispersed, a gigantic humanoid skeleton appeared before me. What did this guy turn himself into? I scratched my horn. No such thing existed in my ancestral memories. You'll soon be part of me. Cough. A voice came from the giant skeleton's body. Reincarnation abyss. I didn't hesitate to use it. A man and a giant dragon appeared in the reincarnation space. So this is the extra-dimensional space you brought Igor to earlier? Cough was surprised. I was eager to refine you into a Deathchild and extract your memories, so I watched him with curiosity. He didn't understand my ideal at all. To become the most perfect being, Cough struck first. Predators with ideals. I quietly activated my power. Atoms roared within me, then I used all my magic to control the fiery winds and magical sloth of reincarnation space to press Cough. Under cover of those scattered attacks, I used Void Walk to vanish. Cough countered with bone spikes. His senses were infinitely heightened in that state. He noticed something off just as my form appeared behind him. The necromancer saw only a blue-white light that lasted for minutes. It was the first time since Feast ended that I continuously poured my atomic earth power at full force. I only stopped the assault when smoke began pouring from my mouth. The reincarnation space was left littered with shattered bone fragments. Cracked bones tried to reassemble, but I gave them no chance. I grabbed half a skull and held it up before my eyes. You lost. You're so strong, then why couldn't you act earlier? His emotions were inexpressible. I didn't want to destroy my lair. I squeezed with my dragon claw and crushed the skull. The soul fire dimmed. Cough's final thought filtered out. What a laughable reason. The reincarnation space began to expand rapidly, and a brand new Deathchild slowly took shape. On the first day, I reincarnated as a black dragon. I wanted to experiment on my two unhatched little sisters. Even Dragon Mother makes my mouth water. It's because I awakened a golden talent called Feast, which grows stronger by continually devouring. Outside the lair, Algeta was nervously watching everything. After Cough and I disappeared, he became worried. Although he knew I was very powerful, the enemy had slain dragons before. What are you thinking? A deep voice. Cold pudding rose from behind Aljeta. Aljeta snapped to attention, turned, and found it was me. He exclaimed excitedly, "My lord, you're all right." I smiled. "Do I look like I'm hurt?" "Seems fine." Aljeta came over to inspect me. "All right, go play elsewhere." Then I checked on my followers to see the situation over there. The lands of the Saranya kingdom had basically been picked clean by dark creatures. Now the leaders, Sadal and the two-headed Wyvern King, had one goal: to humble the capital. After all, most of Saranya's remaining resistance was concentrated here. Judging by their looks, they're prepared to die defending the capital. This battle seems nearly won. Once we seize all the human kingdom's wealth, it's over. To me, those so-called resistance forces are a joke. Without legendary deterrence, ordinary warriors and mages are useless in large-scale war. My thoughts stayed on my own gains, and I completely forgot there's a little black dragon in the capital waiting to be rescued. Now I plan to go to the capital myself and collect my spoils. The Saranya capital was shrouded by a powerful defensive array. Ordinary residents were panicking because dark creatures had surrounded the entire capital. I had long said they'd just hand over the hatchling, but they refused. In the capital's main hall, an elderly noble peered forward. "Duke Cordo, if I'm not mistaken. You pushed for this war," a minister suddenly said. "How could that be me?" the old noble cried. "I said if an enemy maliciously provokes us, they must pay the price." This was their provocation. Another noble rolled his eyes and muttered that perhaps it was the king's fault. The hall fell silent. The ministers looked sadly at King Isaac. Isaac's face was ashamed. His aim hadn't been achieved. The damned hatchling still wouldn't submit. No matter how he coerced it, its proud attitude treated him like an insect. Now those guys are coming to threaten him again. Don't think he doesn't know what they want. They just want him dead. But he doesn't want to die. Isaac, distraught, went to the back garden. Emily's little black dragon was imprisoned here. Emily was playing with a few gold coins. When Isaac arrived, she didn't even look up. "One last chance. Sign a contract with me," Isaac shouted angrily, gripping the cage. "A worm is a worm. Crawl on the ground obediently," Emily sneered. He'd said it many times already. Last chance. Each visit brought no real change. Isaac rubbed his head. He felt like this creature was going to drive him mad. He motioned the nearby guards away with an empty hand. After entering his chamber, Isaac stared into the air expressionlessly and asked, "What should I do now?" The space around them warped and a middle-aged man cloaked in black appeared with a smile. "Long life isn't that easy," the man said calmly. "So what should I do?" Isaac asked, eyes red, chuckling hoarsely. "That depends on your resolve," the man said. "Remember the other gifted human who worked with me last time? Talented and capable, far better than the useless one before you." The demon Muon Kian recalled those unpleasant memories, especially that damned black dragon. "You now have over 2 million humans in your kingdom, quite a few warriors and mages among them, high-quality stock. If you can trap them all, then there's a chance to. When the demon army arrives, even without that dragon, you could be blessed by our lord and become a powerful demon," Kian smiled. "So that's your true aim." Isaac, not an idiot, thought carefully and concluded that becoming a demon wasn't so bad after all. "Look at me, Kian." After the black mist spreads, the fierce form of Mihyoman appears. Kian showed himself before Isaac. "Or do you value those 2 million lives more than your own?" Kian knew human frailty well. Sure enough, Isaac was tempted. "I'll need some profit up front. Otherwise, how do I know you can really summon the demon army? What do you want?" Kian asked. "My mobile data never seems enough. Help me with that." "You didn't say earlier, try this data sim. Monthly fee, only 19 yuan for 135 gigabytes nationwide. There's a promo first month free. The speed is great. I've used it for a while, very reliable. If you want it, you can claim it at the lower left. Free shipping. Remember, the demon army are among the strongest demon lords. In the bottomless abyss, ordinary demon lords have at least human legendary level power, while the demon army can easily crush those demon lords." Demon Keen smiled. He knew this human had bitten. Meanwhile, I was heading toward the capital of the Saranya kingdom. Silver Dragon Aljeta followed behind. After flying for a while, we finally saw the capital. A roar of excitement came as the bipedal Wyvern King Zwogung flew to my side, circling me up and down. "You seem to have grown again." I sized up the Wyvern King. Other clan leaders below noticed my arrival. The dark creatures cleared a landing zone. I descended with Aljeta. Saddle and the half-dragon warrior Tortoisen watched me fanatically. "My lord, I'll charge personally and give you this city." Tortoisen snorted 2 bursts of steam from his nostrils in excitement. "No need, I'll break the array myself. Once it's broken, all forces attack. Remember, I only want the treasure." I flew straight up into the sky and looked down at the capital. Mid-air, energy began to accumulate in my body as the atomic furnace spun rapidly. By then, the capital had descended into chaos. A soldier on the walls trembled, pale, staring at the massive black shape in the sky. Gritting his teeth, he shouted, "Report to His Majesty, the Black Dragon has arrived." Damn, it came so fast. Demon Kian had just left the palace when he saw the scene. At that moment, I, high in the sky, breathed a searing blast and the protective array, like a bubble, ruptured. On the first day, I turned into a black dragon. I wanted to eat my 2 unhatched little sisters. Even Dragon Mother makes my mouth water when I look at her. This guided my awakening of a golden talent called Feast. It can grow stronger by continuously devouring. Damn, it came so fast. Demon Kian had just left the palace when he saw the scene. At that moment, eye in the sky blasted a scorching gout of earth. The protective array popped like a bubble and shattered. Charge. Seeing the array break, all the dark creatures erupted in excitement. They had waited too long. I leaned down and watched it all, thinking I should head to the treasury. I began low flying toward the nobles, where everything I wanted should be. Kian watched the black dragon fly over his head, full of anger and fear. These damn dragons should be flayed and their bones torn apart, their souls tested by abyssal flame. Just wait. He cursed the black dragon frantically. I, who had just flown past, felt puzzled. An uneasy premonition had risen. I possessed telepathy, and I had just heard some creature cursing me. I stopped and landed on the roof of a palace cluster, then fixed my crimson eyes on the lives below, soldiers and civilians. For some reason, the terrifying black dragon had stopped, even though I hadn't intentionally displayed my might. Yet everyone present still felt a deathly fear and involuntarily dropped to their knees. Kian, like the surrounding humans, knelt with his head bowed, sensing the dragon was aimed at him, though he showed no outward difference. A thunderous, scorching breath fired straight at Kian. He screamed and scrambled upright. By then he had resumed his Mihyomon form. A human body couldn't dodge such a terrifying thing. Oh, it's stuck. Turns out I'm out of credit. Need to top up at the start of the month. I just grabbed a 3 yuan voucher in the Douyin Mall, so good. Fast top up, great deals. Click the mall to enter the top up center, or go directly to the comments section. You can get a 1 yuan credit voucher. Remember to tap the comments. Hurry aboard. Your magic. I didn't expect my tentative earth attack would actually work, and I even ran into an old acquaintance. How did you notice? The young demon was going a little mad. He didn't understand how things turned out this way. He had only cursed inwardly and was discovered. This was even stranger than the previous black dragon. Were black dragons inherently counter to him? I judged he probably hadn't recognized me, but I was used to it. Everyone there was in rags, so why was his black robe so clean? He looked like trouble. I was amused and, for once, explained to Kian. Unexpectedly, it was because his clothes were cleaner than others. What kind of reason is that? Killing someone for wearing clean clothes? Remember, he was just an ordinary human a moment ago. This black dragon was certainly insane, but thinking of his situation, Kian forced a standard devilish grin. A demon like him must be adaptable. Honored black dragon, a child is in the palace with Isaac. We haven't harmed him. As Kian was about to speak, 8 blood-red beams suddenly lit up from the noble's direction. The pillar array succeeded. Kian could no longer care about his wounds. Red light flickered over him as his body pixelated into countless transparent fragments and vanished. I watched where the young demon had disappeared. This time he didn't seem to have escaped. My gaze shifted to the palace. The familiar yet strange aura puzzled me like a sacrificial array, but not completely. With a beat of my wings, I flew toward the palace. Inside, Isaac stared at the blood-red array, his eyes full of exhaustion. Then Demon Kian appeared in the palace and, using blood, drew a massive 6-blind star array on the ground. Stand in the center of the array and recite the spell. I taught you, this is your only chance. The black dragon is already here, Kian urged. Isaac clenched his teeth. The kingdom was nearly gone, so he chose to make the best of a bad situation. Soon, Isaac began strange hand movements and stood in the array's center, muttering spells not of this world. Black blood flowed from his orifices like boiling tar. Isaac felt something was wrong. The spell and array seemed different from what Mihyomon Kian had described. We signed a contract. You can't do this to me. Isaac cried in pain. Contracts are made to be broken. A mere mortal dares seek eternal life? Kian sneered. As a demon, he had ways to circumvent contracts. You lied to me, you'll die a terrible death, Isaac snarled. His body then dissolved in the array like foam, not even his clothes remaining. Kian paid no mind to Isaac's curse. If mortal curses worked, he'd have lost count of how many times he'd died. Thinking this, Kian respectfully spoke abyssal to the blood-red space before him. Great Lord of the 10,000 hosts, Glass the Unbound, your lowly servant offers his highest homage. As Kian spoke, the space shifted and a black demonic skull of abyssal miasma formed within the array. Has it been so long? I wonder what has happened in this world. A magnetic voice entered Kian's ears. Before he could react, a burst of black miasma sprayed from the demon's skull's maw and instantly enveloped Mihyomon Kian's body. With a rumble, my form appeared here as well. The black dragon looked strange. The huge miasmic skull regarded me with curiosity. I never imagined I'd meet the legendary demon lord of the 10,000 hosts, Glass the Dark Sovereign here. I studied the demonic skull. The black dragon inheritance records mention him. He is the only one in the bottomless abyss who might vie for overlord. And in ancient times, the 10,000 host army was arguably the most powerful demon force. Some powerful ones speculated he disappeared long ago. Glass had been inactive in the abyss for ages. Unexpectedly to meet even a projection here, though this wasn't his true body, merely a projection formed of abyssal miasma. If Glass himself appeared in full, I'd run as far as I could. He's far beyond what I can handle. He even outwits and can kill true gods. But as he's only a projection now, that's another matter. Black Dragon, you are impressive. Swear fealty to me. Glass had just absorbed Mihyomon's memories and sensed my great power, considering he'd only recently escaped confinement and yet had no proper minions in this world. Hearing this, I was furious. A projection of abyssal miasma already demanding my submission. What a nerve. If you pledge to me, I'd be even happier, Glass said, ignoring my mockery and continuing. As a black dragon of this age, your bloodline may not support growth to worm ancient levels. In other words, even if you're lucky and become an ancient dragon, at best you'd reach demigod level power. Your end would be to enter Tiamat's divine realm and continue serving her, or become a pitiful dragon lick. I can make you a mighty abyssal drake, then no heavenly foe would stand against you. Not even Tiamat, mother of worms, could resist. Your might would shake the entire new realm. Glass's voice brimmed with extreme temptation. I felt no affinity for becoming a demon's ally or underling. I looked down at the weakening Mihyoman Kian. Lord Glass, Kian cried, pain etched on his face as the demon had roughly sifted through his memories and gravely wounded his mind. In that state, he was extremely frail. I paid little heed to that pathetic Mihyoman. I had felt a powerful mental compulsion trying to make me succumb to what Glass described, but my mental strength and will, bolstered by the feast's life force, far exceed an ordinary true dragon. Such mental inducement posed no threat to me. If I lacked a golden finger or my luck had been poor, I might have considered joining Glass. Not bad willpower, Glass said, finally taking the black dragon before him a bit more seriously. On the first day I transformed into a black dragon, I wanted to devour my two not yet hatched sisters. Even Dragon Mother makes my mouth water when I look at her simply because I awakened a golden talent called Feast. It can grow stronger by continuously devouring. I had just felt a powerful mental inducement trying to drag me into the state, Glass described. But my mental strength and will, enhanced by the feast's life value, far surpass a typical true dragon, so that inducement posed no threat. If I lacked the golden finger or had been worse off, I might indeed have considered teaming up with Glass. Good willpower, Glass said, beginning to take the black dragon more seriously. After all, he's the lord of the 10,000 hosts. Even as a miasma projection, the inducement magic he sends isn't something an ordinary black dragon can resist. That young Mihyoman is just a greedy fool. His only use was to prematurely break open the Igvolfr seal decades early, Glass remarked indifferently. As the great abyssal will that oversees the demon host, even if his true form falls in the outer world, he would quickly be reborn in the bottomless abyss. However, his true form was directly sealed by the Witch Queen Igvolfr. This trans-temporal seal is located in the interstitial fissures of the prime material plane, and Igvolfr's methods prevent him even from taking his own life. Witch Queen Igvolfr, I hadn't expected that this fellow was sealed by her. Could it have been a honey trap? Thinking about it, it's plausible. Glass holds the title of Demon Prince and is notoriously lecherous, even bolder than dragons. And Witch Queen Igvolfr is said to possess charm on par with the Dark Sorceress herself. My guess likely isn't far off. At that moment, countless black filaments spun out around the array. The great demonic skull swayed, sighed softly, and said, Black Dragon, I have high hopes for you. We will surely meet again in the future. I look forward to your performance. After speaking, the skull vanished. There were more important matters for it to attend to. Isn't Valentine's Day coming soon? Glass still hasn't decided what gift to give his girlfriend and is fretting about it. Sharing some good news here, Valentine's is almost here. Shouldn't we make it a bit ceremonial? I just bought a Dove chocolate gift box on the Douyin Mall, perfect for gifting a girlfriend at New Year. The creative box looks great and tastes good. It costs less than a cup of milk tea, price-wise it's ideal. These small things really add the finishing touch. After all, you should prepare to welcome romance for Valentine's Day. Click the mall to enter the flash sale channel, or go directly to the comments to buy. Tons of coupons are being issued for a limited time, first come, first served in the comments. Spend little to create big ceremonial value. I'll click the comments too. The black dragon before me will understand one day. The array then vanished, and everything around returned to normal, but I felt heavy inside. Glass's final words surely meant more than they appeared. He was certain we'd meet again, and he didn't use the projection to strike me further. If this being were an enemy, he'd be the strongest I'd face in my life. I scratched my horn with a claw. Worrying changes nothing. If I just eat steadily, one day I'll make this demon host an item on my menu. With that resolved, I looked at the half-dead Mihyoman. There's another tasty one here. The entire kingdom's wealth combined should be enough for me to hold 2 or 3 feasts, right? In the scorched earth, a small head cautiously poked out. The immense magical force of the array had shattered the cage imprisoning Emily. Feeling that overwhelming presence, Emily had just buried herself and pretended to be dead. Only after that evil, chaotic power outside faded did she crawl out from underground. The moment she stuck her head out, a huge claw snatched her up. What the let go of me? Let go. You'll eat me. Emily flailed her limbs wildly. I held her up before my face and inspected her. Turning her over, no missing parts. Her body was intact. It seemed the Saranya kingdom had not abused Emily after all. I thought she was long dead. Lucky. Emily cursed and ranted, then looked up and froze at the sight of a pair of enormous blood-red eyes. She glanced at the surroundings and clearly realized the burly black dragon before her had attacked the human capital to plunder its wealth. After a few seconds of her mind short-circuiting, Emily suddenly became excited. This episode is exclusively sponsored by Duwu. Recently, my video editing has been going so smoothly. Thanks to the new computer I redeemed on Duwu, and the best part is I didn't spend a penny because I won 2,888 yuan shopping credit. So many people have shared their winning records. If you win, it's credited instantly. Hurry and click the link in the comments to participate. You must be the great scourge of despair, the most unparalleled Black Dragon King in history. Seeing me staring straight at him made Emily feel a chill. My roommate, who hopes to become the future Black Dragon Queen. Emily, if the two of us join forces, we could surely rule this great stage, she said. I looked at Emily with a strange expression. If you can't even subdue your own half-draconic warriors, how can you team up for conquest? That's not the Lord's capital. The human royal treasury has already been located. The half-drake Tolson flew over excitedly. His wings couldn't support true flight yet, but he could glide. I'll go check the treasury, bring all the city's wealth back, Sun Li said. Tolson glanced at the little black dragon in my hand. Emily suddenly blurted, "Long live the mighty lord who rescued the princess." To Tolson, his master is the powerful Black Dragon King, so the master's child must naturally be the Black Dragon Princess. Emily was ecstatic. He actually has such a powerful dad. Who would have thought that the absurdly stupid Black Dragon Liza would be so lucky to have such a strong companion? Usually, those rogues just finish and flee, but this bargain dad actually came to rescue me, which proves the future great Black Dragon Queen will be formidable. In an instant, Emily's mind imagined countless visions of his future imposing form, countless retainers surrounding him, standing atop a vast heap of treasure, watching two black dragons, one large, one small below. "You fool, dare come to pledge yourself to me, the great Black Dragon Queen. Do you think you can behold her?" "Yes, the great Black Dragon Queen. Emily, as I'm blind, I deserve to die," the little black dragon stammered, and Emily nodded in satisfaction. Then she looked at the adult black dragon Lysa beside me. "You actually hit me back then. Do you think you can strike the great Black Dragon Queen?" "I really deserve it to have given birth to the great Black Dragon Queen," was Lysa's doing. Emily, drooling and dazed, drifted off in fantasy. I felt a little sick. The drool had even dripped onto my claw. I casually tossed her to Tolson and wiped my claw. "Take her back to the lair and don't let her touch anything." Then I flew toward the spot Tolson had pointed out. I love cracking open treasuries. Tolson stood, stunned. Things weren't what he'd expected. The master didn't seem to like his child and forbade her from touching anything, probably the treasures. "What are you looking at? Hurry up and take me back, or my father will kill you." Emily straightened up and glared fiercely at Tolson. Having such a powerful dad, what is there to fear? Now she's the Black Dragon Princess. Tolson was momentarily unsure how to treat the little black dragon. "Oh well, stay calm and act normal. Our lair is in the Sunset Forest. It's a bit of a distance," Tolson said, then flew ahead. "You damned half-dragon, just you wait." As a true dragon, he had that proud temperament, which made Emily angry at Tolson. Tolson inwardly looked down on the child. An incomparable black dragon isn't comparable to this little hatchling. Seeing Tolson ignore her, Emily glanced around, frightened, then hurriedly followed. After flying a distance, I found Shadel deep within the noble's quarter, the Guardian Lord's treasury. Shadel looked a bit disheveled. "What happened?" I asked, seeing a large hole torn in the treasury gate and other signs inside. "Master, we've broken the protective array, but 3 rather powerful constructs are inside guarding it. Their bodies are very strong. We can't defeat them yet, only wear down their energy," Shadel explained. Shadel explained and stepped back. I acted like opening a chest, prying up a portion of the roof with one claw. Cracked, 3 figures burst out. Without even looking, I struck with a claw and tore 2 constructs to pieces. The remaining humanoid construct leapt high and thrust its great sword toward my eyes. I beat it with a wing and the construct was slammed into the ground with a crunch. From beneath the earth, a terrifying suit of archaic armor, red energy seeping from its seams, leapt out. It actually withstood my wing. This terrifying armored construct is something else. I know my strength well. The 2 earlier constructs shattered at the slightest touch. These terrifying armored constructs possess intelligence. They can reason and adjust tactics. They devote everything faithfully to their maker, and even after the maker's demise, they continue. But to me, they're just so-so. With one claw, I destroyed the core inside the armor's chest. Looking at the fallen, terrifying armor, an idea came to me. This episode is exclusively sponsored by Duwu. Recently, my video editing has been going so smoothly. Thanks to the new computer I redeemed on Duwu. Best part is I didn't spend a penny, because I won 2,888 yuan shopping credit on Duwu. Many people have posted their winning records. It's credited immediately when you win. Hurry and join via the link in the comments. Death children aren't the same as they were in life. Their bodies are shaped by the reincarnation abyss, which makes them weaker than their past selves. But if we can find a way to combine a death child with a terrifying armor, it would be much more powerful, though that requires careful study. "Put it away and take it back later," I ordered. "Understood, my lord." Then I looked into the treasury. I ignored the mountains of piled coins. Those items felt thrilling at first, but after seeing so many, I'd grown numb. What I most wanted to see were the special treasures, hoping some might grant me new talents. Unfortunately, when the feast isn't active, you can't judge an item's value by scent. Better to take them back first. No, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Just after I entered the palace lair, I heard a flustered noise inside. Hannah was cautiously chewing a large chunk of meat while Emily was grabbing Hannah and asking questions. Seeing me come in, the half-drake Tolson saluted and then slowly backed away. Emily and Hannah quieted down. Emily stared wide-eyed at me. He had just heard an unbelievable piece of news from Hannah that the burly black dragon who chilled so many humans and commanded countless followers and treasure was actually his strange elder brother. "What do you two plan to do from now on?" "I'm in a good mood," I said, My gaze toward the two little dragon girls softening somewhat. I thought Hannah opened her mouth to say something. Now that Emily and he were safe, rescuing them was more than enough. Ordinary evil dragons wouldn't care about sibling bonds, but Emily calmed down and began thinking about the future. A true dragon with the dragon's heritage isn't foolish, he can reason things out himself. After all, only he knew how much suffering he and Hannah had endured these past months. If nothing changed, they might not survive to adulthood. In contrast, my strength, followers, and treasure already far exceeded what the two hatchlings could imagine. After all, I'm about the same age as them, around 1 year old. Even gifted Elder Star dragons can't compare. Maybe only legendary elders are comparable. Big brother, I'm sorry about what happened before, but we want to stay by your side. Hannah mustered courage and said. We want to stay and help you, Hannah began, but Emily quickly interjected jokingly. This bargain big brother is doing so well now, far better than our dragon mother back then, and his future potential is enormous. So, they planned to cling to this opportunity. Face and pride mattered less. I didn't pay much attention to the two little ones. Truthfully, they weren't of great use to me yet. By the time their strength grew, I'd already be invincible. Just then, the Gerent siblings entered. My lord, congratulations on rescuing your children. Aljetta's eyes brightened at the sight of the two little black dragons. Baby black dragons do look rather cute, especially beside a massive creature like me. What's going on? Emily panicked upon hearing that. As he tried to say he wasn't my child, I pressed my claw on his head and cut off the rest of his sentence. The child is mischievous, help train them, I said, patting Emily's head with my claw. Emily couldn't utter a word. His little body trembled. My sudden claw had made him feel a sharp life or death threat. Hannah watched the scene and nodded like a pecking chick. Yes, yes, we'll be good children of our Lord. I nodded in satisfaction. The child adapted quickly. I knew clearly how fast I was growing. In this situation, it's best not to reveal too much early. On the lure of legendary renown is not small. Gerent, Aljetta, I will sleep for a while. I entrust the lair's security to you, don't disappoint me. I spoke solemnly to the Gerent siblings. Before Gerent could respond, Aljetta excitedly interrupted. He didn't ask why I'd recently just slept and was sleeping again. As the twisting seed's effects gradually manifested, and since Aljetta already bore a little ill will toward me, his favor continued to rise. After making the arrangements, I walked deeper into the lair, where my treasures and other items were kept. Only after I left did Emily react. He breathed a sigh of relief. Big brother in that state had been terrifying. He felt like he could be torn apart at any moment. And Big brother had even tamed 2 metal dragons. When would those proud metal dragons bow to a 5-colored dragon? You're Emily, right? Those humans are hateful. Aljetta stepped forward and patted Emily's horn to comfort him. Get your hands off. Do you think you can touch the future Black Dragon Queen? Emily swatted Aljetta's hand away, hissing like a puffed-up kitten. Aljetta glanced at Hannah, then at Emily. How could these two kids have such different temperaments? Not cute at all. She is, after all, a black dragon, Gerent reminded. Black dragon hatchlings are nothing like the metal dragon hatchlings on Dragon Isle. Their dispositions are much worse. Aljetta snorted. My future children will definitely be cuter than this little black dragon. How many eggs should I lay? 3 seems about right. Silver dragon offspring like me would surely be adorable. With whom would you have them? Aljetta's gaze looked toward the direction I had just left. Gerent had no idea what his sister was daydreaming about. He left alone to arrange the related matters. Aljetta stayed at the doorway to stand guard, as before. But her mind was already a mess. After I set up several warning wards, I entered the treasure vault and began studying my ingredients. First was that blood core from the vampire clan, then several legendary weapons and similar items. There was also the corpse of that Maizu demon. Lastly, after checking my status panel, I chose to begin the feast. The familiar hunger washed over me. Soon, countless external creatures and treasures they valued as life were swallowed by me like candy. The cavern's hoard visibly shrank at high speed. I felt no remorse after all. It had all been taken by force. Then came the vampire blood, the human legendary weapons, and finally that Maizu demon. When about half the treasure in the cave remained, the feast progress finally reached 100%. I felt my eyelids growing heavy, and then I closed my eyes.